Hang on. Welcome, everybody. I just got to switch the correct overlays on and off so that our... oh, here we go. Let's look at the trailer.
It will show you as much about survival as deliverance. As much about human courage as Midnight Express. As much about armed conflict as Apocalypse Now. The bayous of Louisiana, the home of a little understood group of Americans. They're a peaceful people as long as they're left alone.
Everybody out of the truck!
The National Guard on weekend maneuvers. In 48 hours, they'll be home with their families. There's only one problem.
We live back in here. This is our home.
They've crossed a boundary into a territory where they don't belong.
We ran into some people that are real weird, and I think maybe they're trying to kill us.
They've violated laws they never knew existed.
Somebody figure out where the hell we're going and do it quick. Gotta go east to go north. Tell that damn thing.
And the farther they go, the closer they get to nowhere.
I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I'm gonna fight my way out of here.
Southern comfort. It's the land of hospitality, unless you don't belong there.
Well, I got chills, and they're multiplying. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Yeah. Good afternoon, good evening, good night, good golly, Miss Molly. It's only Talk and Roll, episode 34. And we're back at the movies today to do what in my opinion is one of the most overlooked movies of the 80s, and certainly one of Walter Hill's most overlooked movies, Southern Comfort. So to set the scene, it's 1973. The Vietnam War is raging. The Louisiana National Guard, those guys, are on routine maneuvers.
I was one of those guys.
Are on routine maneuvers for the weekend in Cajun County. And a platoon of...
We have parishes. Let me correct you there, sir. You're up there in a French country. You should know that. I read
the script. Only in Quebec do they have parishes. A platoon of inexperienced and arrogant soldiers heads off into the swamps, but mistakes are made. Friends are not made, but mistakes are made. And they run afoul of the wrong locals. And then what ensues is a fight for survival as the lost patrol desperately attempt to keep themselves together and alive and find their way out of this hostile landscape. So welcome to 1981's Southern Comfort. Tagline: it's the land of hospitality unless you don't belong there. So what a great, great, great movie. I'm so happy to have my esteemed panel here today to talk about it, of one of whom was probably in the movie. Joe, my friend, you're from Louisiana.
Yes, I'm from the opposite part of the state where this takes place, but it was filmed closer to me. It was filmed in Caddo Lake, which is right here in Caddo Parish, and it borders Texas, I believe.
There's some debate about this, but according to Walter Hill, the actual movie, yes, it was filmed in Caddo Lake, but it was filmed in Caddo Lake, Texas.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it could have strayed into Louisiana. There's the dividing line. There's the lake. And a place called Uncertain. What a great name for a place, Uncertain. Where do you come from, Uncertain? No, where do you come from? When you're not sure, you don't know.
Yeah,
so a
you
lot
see
of
oil
filming was here.
there that on the right side of the map. That's pretty close to where I live.
Yeah, there's the dividing line.
Mhm.
Do you live over here now?
Yeah.
Roughly speaking.
Let's see. I think if you look at this map,
So
more
there's Oil City
all
and
of this
Caddo.
stuff I believe is north of me right now. I'm actually south of Cattle Lake, I believe.
Okay. So pretty close though. Pretty close to
Yeah, real close. Yes, sir.
So but welcome, Joe. Thank you for being here as usual. I know
Always,
you've got
man.
a few pithy comments to make about this movie and Louisiana National Guard, which we'll get into at some point.
Sir.
But I'd also like to welcome stalwart of the show, Mr. Pope Metallicus the Oneth. How are you doing, sir?
Doing good, man. I had actually never seen this movie before you recommended it, and I'm glad you did because I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. It's amazing how many people have not seen it. Like I mentioned it to some real cinephiles. I think even Tom Connors the other day said, "No, never seen it." How can you not have seen Walter Hill's Southern Comfort? It's like I went to the cinema to see this when it was released. It's like, wow, this is great.
I always have an excuse. I wasn't born until 6 years later.
Yeah, but I mean,
it's an old movie.
VHS. This was a VHS standard, in my opinion.
Yep.
Joe, I mean, what was your
81? I was a
experience
sophomore in high school, and it was R-rated. So no, I saw it on VHS. Yeah, he's right. It was a VHS standard. Everybody
it was R-rated.
Yeah.
That's true.
Now I knew about the movie being made. That was big news around here when I was young. Yeah. But no, I didn't go see it until I think they played it at the midnight movies. That's something youngsters probably wouldn't understand. We used to have the midnight movies, and the staples were actually a Walter Hill film called The Warriors. That's where I saw The Warriors the first time. They used to weekend at the midnight movies, Rocky Horror Picture Show, and Heavy Metal. Those were the three standards. Now they'd fill the other with something else, and I think they showed Southern Comfort one week.
Yeah, what a great lineup! God, I would have stayed and watched them twice.
That was at a place called St. Vincent Mall. They'd have the midnight movies every Friday and Saturday night, and the three staples were those three: the Warriors, Heavy Metal, and the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Yep.
So, John, what's your history with this movie? Did you see it back in the day, or?
Well, I was 11 when this came out, but
target audience.
I was probably 15 or 16 when I first saw it. Rented it. I had the advantage of having my own VCR, so my parents didn't pay attention to really what I was watching, as long as it wasn't adult oriented.
Not a lot of sex in this one, so you're okay.
No, yeah, I'm okay with that. The violence they were always fine with, but they were always fine with. So, and I have the movie, so it's been a while since I watched it, so I rewatched it before the show today, and it really is an unsung masterpiece.
In my opinion, it is, and we'll get into those details shortly. We've all got a few comments, I'm sure, to make about that and about movies that it's compared to, one in particular. But let's just have a quick chat. Say hello to the chat that are here. Thank you all for being here. Really appreciate it. Once again, it's great to see you all. And I think we can have some fun here. This might not be the biggest show on the internet today, but I think we're going to have some fun with this little gem. So I can only go so back here, unfortunately, but we have Jacob Ironside is with us. Good to see you. We got the wonderful Dave Bob, which is shot near where he lives. I suspect there's a really close to you then, Joe.
Yeah, he said he's in Houghton. I was talking to him in the chat, and that is it's just the other side of town from me. I can get to it from a couple of different directions. I'm over here by Barksdale Air Force Base. He knows exactly where I'm at. They're all small towns around Shreveport. That's what all of this is. Shreveport's the major city here, and it's in Caddo Parish, which is the one that borders Texas. We're on the other side of the red, both he and I. He's a Houghton Buccaneer, and I'm a Parkway Panther. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that you probably have a lot of things in common because of that physicality. The locations are probably pretty similar. You're in a pretty similar environment, I would imagine.
We're on either side of Barksdale Air Force Base. I can tell you that.
Yeah, cool. Well, it's good to see you here, buddy. We have actually, Joe, I did want to put up your comment. When a one-armed Cajun with a rifle speaks, people listen.
That's right.
And they do.
They do.
And Breon James, who we'll get to, what a great accent he had in this.
He did really well at it.
Yeah, and I enjoyed this. Yeah, we'll talk about it again. But I enjoyed the Powers Booth character. Just come from El Paso in Texas, completely different environment, like completely. Right. And he's like,
he thinks all these guys are Hicks, man. Yeah.
Yeah. So I love it when Peter Coyote's sergeant says to him something about, you don't like the Louisiana National Guard. He said, no, but I didn't like the Texas National Guard either, right? I love him. He's just so dry. A chemical engineer in his daily life, and there he is, weekend warriors, as they called them. Who else have we got today? Oh, we obviously have our great friend Sentient Dildo, who was probably the only implement not used to kill soldiers in this, the guardsman, although maybe off screen. Michael Carney, hello. Good to see you, buddy. The great E. Clay Thomason, great supporter of the channel. Great to see you, buddy. Papa Cotton is here. We missed you last night on VDub's stream, Dildo. Well, Dildo was probably pretty busy that time at night. So. The great and wonderful job, you mean? Yeah. The great, wonderful Davina Duckworth, who good to see you, Davina, and you're usually full of pithy comments, taking the pith out of us, usually. We have Sean in step. Good to see you, Sean. We've done Jacob. He's done. Metallicus, Dave, Papa Cat, and Michael. I think we might have reached the bottom of the ones we've done. All the people that have already announced their presence. And please, if you're watching the show, get in the chat and give us some chat. There's Larry. Excellent to see you, buddy. And the wonderful Christian Delorme. Yes, I did get it, and I'm about to get to that one. Yeah, you were way too early for the chat to keep up. Christian's already throwing money at me. If I was a stripper, he'd be.
Christian is your biggest supporter, man.
Money. He is the bestest guy. And I did clip and paste Christian's comment. Hide on stream, and I'm just looking for it now. Well, like one-armed Cajun with a heart of gold. Well, a heart of copper maybe, or tin, but forgive me while I look for Christian's. Hang on. How did you get the Bayou Hillbillies for your panel? I just attract them, and they just come to me.
Well, it's a very technical process of putting crayfish in a line for a long way, and then eventually they show up.
It's because he lives in a country that's English and French. Okay, the same thing goes on down here. All right,
Oh, here we go. I found the. So Christian, under the title of anonymous, but I could tell it was him. Tipped $5 before the show. A great panel and a great topic, and led by a sexy bald man. What else can a man ask for? Cheers. Well, thank you, buddy. I think you could probably ask for boobs, but you're not going to get them today.
According to Billie Eilish, you'll lose followers.
That's right. And there's actually very few mad. I think Darius can probably let himself in the stream. Maybe not. Hey, Darius.
Hey, I can actually let myself on the stream, but thank you.
You can. You have the power. Good to see you, my friend. And I'm sure you'll be able to help me out with a few choice things behind the scenes. But that's not why you're here. You're here to talk. This movie that we are going to talk about soon, when I've stopped dissembling and killing time, What's your experience of this film, my friend?
I just watched it at work, so I'm still trying to figure out what I just watched. But yeah, I was quite surprised that it was not like a Vietnam War movie. Obviously, it's Southern Comfort, but yeah, it's kind of a subversion of expectations, dare I say.
Yeah, I think so we can address the Vietnam War thing, I think, pretty early on. Yes, it is set during 1973, and the Vietnam War is raging, and I'm going to look to Joe to help me out perhaps a little bit of the history, but Louisiana National Guard, I don't think it was a mandatory thing. It was a volunteer force.
Volunteer force. Yeah, and I do want to address something, and Pope will understand what I'm talking about here. You have to remember the context of the time. This was a voluntary thing, and there were very few full-time guarders at the time. They were what we called weekend warriors. They did a weekend a month, and they did 2 weeks in the summertime. And that's the way it was back then. Now, in today's military force, they have a much larger role. They're deployed a lot more now.
Deployed, yeah.
They're a lot better trained. What you see in that movie is what it used to be. And I got to tell you, I came from an active military, 3 years military police on active duty, bouncing around, moving 4 times in 3 years, and working all kinds of jobs and all kinds of situations, training constantly. And going from that to being a weekend warrior, the first time I went in the field with these guys, it was scary for me because they didn't know anything about light discipline. They were walking around with flashlights at night. And I mean, I was like, guys, and that's what you see in this film. You see guys, and you guys, if you've watched the movie, you'll understand. It's almost like, it seems like they're playing military. Now, these guys have been through basic training, which is a concentrated 8 weeks of training. And then they have done advanced training as well, but they've done their advanced training in blocks over summers. So, they're not full-time military, I guess is what I'm trying to get across. And that's what's reflected in this film. It is a voluntary force at that time. Yeah.
But at
it is today, but today's force is a whole lot better trained. They're not weekend warriors anymore. They're deployed a lot.
And you can see that with the characters in this film, where really they're bankers, they're chemical engineers, or whatever, office workers.
Right. They have regular
they're
jobs.
Slack. They don't have discipline of any kind. They don't really understand their weapons and their trigger discipline or firearms discipline, etc., etc. But if you were volunteered for the National Guard in Louisiana, would that remove you from the roles of potential draftees for Vietnam?
Yes.
That
was
if you're already signed up for military service, you wouldn't be on the books.
That was a big recruiting thing for the Guard too, was that basically if you join the Guard, you wouldn't get sent to Vietnam.
I wondered about that because these guys are obviously keen to be in it, even though some of them are out not suited to it. Yeah.
And you notice all these guys, I'm not going to say they're smart, but they're book smart. They're all like, they've all got decent jobs. I think one of them's a teacher, and they knew that they were going to be able to stay out of
Booth's a chemical engineer.
Was college a valid excuse to get out of the draft?
Yeah, that's why a lot of them went to college. Oh, okay. Absolutely.
So these are smart guys.
Yes, they are.
You actually provided a great context because I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's
about the militia.
Like I said, you got to remember the context of the time. They are weekend warriors, and they are not full-time military personnel. And what these guys did, their mission basically back then was disaster relief and things like that. The governor is the actual commander-in-chief of each state's National Guard, and they call on them to do all kinds of things.
So here we are, a picture heading into Joe's shack, which is just out of sight beyond those trees.
Oh, I've been there. I got great crab legs.
Joe's Crab Shack.
And some of them actually belong to crabs, which is... but anyway, that's just a few. We'll be covering a few more images. But Walter Hill himself said because it's set in 81 and everybody immediately leapt to Vietnam allegory. Bunch of unprepared American troops in a strange environment getting the shit kicked out of them.
Mm-hmm.
He said, I never intended it to be that much of an allegory. I just saw it as an action suspense movie. I didn't take it that way. When it was mentioned, we just said, yeah, and got on with it. So he didn't really see it that way. He just liked the story of a bunch of guys in a strange environment. Others...
Sometimes they say that and they don't really mean it.
Well, indeed. But I mean, he's the director and writer, co-writer and director. And others immediately, they'll leapt to that conclusion. And you could see a certain element of it. I mean, they were out of their depth in this strange environment. A strange environment that's just a few miles from their normal town or city environment.
Mm-hmm.
That they obviously didn't interact with a lot, though. So
that's because those people don't come out of there very often. They that's where they live. That's where they stay. Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't lend a lot of credence to that thing, but you know, people are going to draw their own conclusions, and fair enough. Mm-hmm. But I did like this article that he wrote about film directors, and don't feel sorry for them because
the themes.
Yeah, I feel. Yeah, this one particularly. Issue filmmaking, and so I get the feeling that Walter Hill's maybe not too progressive. I don't know. I feel very strongly, and it was about as vehement as Hill got at Leon, that a lot of filmmakers seem to want credit for throwing themselves on the side of good intentions. Then when the films don't work, they kind of ask for a kind of pity, and I totally reject this. His visceral dislike of issue filmmaking may explain many things about Hill, one of them being his distance from New Hollywood. So I found that an interesting comment. So for me, he is one of these guys. I think if I was to pick two guys from that era that I adore, that make great movies that are not fucked up by crap, it would be John Carpenter and Walter Hill. Albeit that Carpenter did have more of a political edge to him.
Oh, big time.
Yeah.
Oh, what about Red Dawn director?
Well, it isn't Red
Milius, yeah.
But I think there's a Red Dawn connection with this movie. I'll come to that in a minute. But anyway, that's Walter Hill, one of his statements. I've only got two articles like this, and then we'll go into some pictures and start talking about them. Heartfelt tribute to Powers Booth. I believe that even though they only did two films together, they were very close friends. Booth being a great Texan, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And he said he was like the Hamlet of the prairies. That was Walter Hill's way of understanding him or explaining him. Tough yet sensitive, powerful but gentle, patrician in spirit but admired by crews and co-workers. So something he has always been one of my favorite actors. Sad loss, of course, but
yeah, sad. But I tell you what, every time I see that one of these celebrities is going to leave Twitter because Elon's got it, I always think of him in Tombstone, just sitting there with Kurt Russell leaving on the buckboard, and he's like, "Well, bye." Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. So also he said about him, family first and always, a generosity of spirit, charitable work for veterans, love of country music, a passion for golf and baseball, and his commitment to the code of the cowboy way. That's a guy I would love to have met when he was still with us. So
yeah,
that's a beautiful.
You said golf. I thought you said goth. I'm like, wow.
Goth. He loved golf. Marilyn Manson was his favorite artist.
Yeah, just imagine him with a Robert Smith hairdo.
Right.
So those two obviously had a bond, and there were some great actors in this movie, and we're going to take a look at those in a minute. There's also a couple of actors who might not be on the same wavelength as those guys, but fair enough, they did a great job in the film. So let's talk about the crew a little bit before we start showing some clips from the movie. And this is where you have to vamp while I call those images up.
Well, if you're going to, before we get off of Walter Hill very quickly, the guy has made some dynamite movies, and he's always come across to me as a guy that isn't trying to make a political statement. He just wants to make a good action movie, you know.
Indeed.
The Warriors was a midnight movie staple when I was a kid, man. When we went to the midnight movies and we were 17 and old enough to see R-rated movies when we were seniors in high school, we were down there every weekend going to see that or Rocky Horror Picture Show or Heavy Metal. You know, it was like a rite of passage for us when we were kids to go down there and see that movie. And I mean, I think my favorite movies he's ever made were The Warriors, this one, and probably 48 Hours. The vehicle that made Eddie Murphy a star,
well,
you know.
This is it. We forget just how many big and good movies he had, I think, because he's been really very underappreciated the last 20 years. Still working.
Yeah.
He's got Dead for a Dollar was out last year, a Western. He loves Westerns. And I think every movie he made was kind of a Western.
It's kind of a Western set in a different place. I mean, you can't tell me Streets of Fire is not a rock and roll fable set in a Western, but I mean, it's a great movie. Oh, it is a fantastic movie.
Structurally Western.
Yep.
Yeah, so
structurally it's Western.
And I'd like to wish him a belated happy birthday because he was 83 on January the 10th.
Wow.
Still with us, still working. As I say, that Western Dead for a Dollar was just released. I think it's probably on streaming now. I haven't seen it yet. He was a director, a writer, a producer, and so many of them are my favorite movies. So Red Heat. 48 Hours, another 48 Hours. Southern Comfort, The Long Riders.
The Long Riders, what a great movie! And they were, and everybody that was part of gangs in that one were brothers. Powers Booth was in that one, and his brother was in it too.
The Booths, you had the Keaches, you had the Carradines, and you had the Quaids. Were all in that, I think.
Yep.
One of my dad's favorite movie, Crossroads.
Yep, Crossroads was his too.
Actually, is even despite my disbelief at Ralph Macchio, it's a great movie because the music is good.
Yeah.
Streets of Fire, you mentioned, The Warriors, which is an all-time classic. But just so many great stuff. Bullet to the Head actually isn't a bad movie from 2012, Stallone movie. So glad to see he's still working. He clearly is kind of on the outs with Hollywood, a bit like Carpenter. They're on that fringe, but they keep plugging away. I've always loved those two guys. So he was the director and co-writer. And there's a clip of The Warriors, of course.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure one of those guys is you, Joe, but I'm not prepared to say which one.
No, I'm not there. I'd have if I'm anybody, I'm the guy with a t-shirt on because I wouldn't be bare-chested running around anywhere. That's for sure.
I kind of thought you were the guy in the middle, the swarthy-looking guy.
But the guy with the afro?
The guy with the afro, yeah.
That's it.
So there's the Long Riders. I mean, look at that cast. It just Carradines, Keaches, Quaids. Christopher Guest was in it. But critically here, music by Ry Cooder, who he worked with several times, including on Southern Comfort. Fabulous roots musician and guitar player. 48 Hours. Who doesn't love 48 Hours? Come on.
If you man, come on. What's that guy's name? James Remar that plays the bad guy in it. He's fantastic.
Oh yeah, dude,
that movie's fantastic. It is great. Nick Nolte at the height of his powers, man.
Indeed. Joel Silver production, Walter Hill direction. It doesn't get any better than that.
No, it doesn't. You put those two names together, you're gonna have a hit, no doubt.
Yeah. And Red Heat, of course.
Yeah. Wasn't that James Belushi? It wasn't John. It was James.
Yeah.
John was dead.
Indeed. But directed by him. Did he write? Yeah, he co-wrote that as well. He wrote that as well. So great track record. These are all movies we could make shows about all day long.
Oh yeah.
And now moving on though to the writer, the other writer. It was Kane Hill and David Giler were the writers. So producer, this is David Giler, who was he's no longer with us sadly, but he was a writer, producer, and occasional director, really associated with the Alien franchise as a producer. And writer.
Well, so got to thank him for that then.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
At least that movie, that's featured next to his face, no doubt.
Yeah.
Well, there's
First
such
two
an
were
interesting production
absolute
story around
classics.
that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry,
he
Bob.
produced the first Alien, executive produced and wrote Aliens, and wrote and produced Alien 3, which has its good points. We won't talk about Alien Resurrection, though. We'll forget about that one.
Wait, you
And
think that's worse than
versus
Alien 3?
I think Alien 3, if you watch the director cut, I could see what Fincher was trying to do.
Okay.
He just...
All right. That'll be a show. We'll talk
But
about it.
He's also the producer
later
of the... Yeah, he's also the producer of the current bunch of Ridley Scott Alien type
Prometheus
things.
and all that stuff. Yeah. Well, as far as I'm concerned, there's only 2 Alien movies. So, yeah.
I
actually like
so that was Geiler.
Don't tell
anyone.
It's okay. And
There's
then
a good movie buried in Alien 3 somewhere.
And the director's cut kind of brushes some of the dirt off of it, and you can kind of see where it should be.
What is that?
So
What's the connection there?
Michael Caine, the third writer of Southern Comfort, who is also no longer with us, but he did live to the age of 97. I don't have a picture of him, but he wrote the Dirty Dozen sequel. He wrote Smokey and the Bandit 2, but he also wrote this film,
which is extremely underrated. If anybody knows anything about football, you should see this movie. It is fantastic.
American football.
Yes, American football.
Michael Caine wrote this, and it's not Michael Caine as in, I only tell you to blow the bloody doors off, not that Michael Caine. It's
why do we fall, sir?
Yeah.
James, you
gonna
mean
need another Batman.
You mean the guy
So
that
we
said,
can
Jaws the Revenge might suck, but it bought my mother a really nice
Bought
house.
his mother a house. Yeah. So Michael Caine was the third writer, and he had a bit of a track record. So
there's only one Alien movie made twice.
So that's right. It is in a sense.
It's like Terminator.
The cinematography was top notch, and that's where a lot of films, if they might not have the greatest of other crew, you get the right cinematographer, brilliant. And this is Andrew Laszlo and his crew. I mean, just look at what they had to do to film this shit. In fact, I've got a funny feeling the guy behind there is Sonny Landham, who was the bad guy. But that's
I was fixing to say he looks a lot like the guy with the rifle in the final scene.
It was done all practical.
It was all practical. They were in the swamps with the heat and the cold, the water.
No studio work.
bugs.
It was all shot on Caddo Lake. Yep.
Although apparently they used the same bits of the lake to do most of the shots, and you can tell it's the same bit, but the color of the water changed during the day. But it's the same stretch. It just kept going back and forward.
Wow.
But Laszlo is celebrated for a bunch of films, not least of which would be The Warriors, obviously. First Blood. He was a cinematographer on Shogun, the TV show Shogun, which I love.
Wow.
Now that's I love
Star Trek 5. He was the cinematographer.
Wow.
Inner Space.
We don't talk about the odd numbered Star Treks.
Yeah, Inner Space was another one. And he would have done more, but he died in 1992. So, but yeah, he had a great record there of stuff. So,
Michael Caine is one hell of a drug, sir.
That's right. We're not gonna need another Batman. The music, this beautiful soundtrack, which we can't play.
No.
Which I'd love to. I've got the soundtrack. I'm
sure
a big
you do.
Ry Cooder fan. Ry Cooder's a legend. I mean, I don't know how to describe this guy. Ry Cooder.
His name is
not
Cooter?
Cooter. Not
His
Cooter.
name
Cooter.
D-O-O-D-E-R.
Yeah, if anyone doesn't know who Ry Cooder, C-O-O-D-E-R is, look him up now. He is phenomenal. Phenomenal artist. Done tons of soundtracks. Sounds of great albums. It was in Little Village, which is a great band with Nick Lowe and a bunch of other people. He's just he's a guitarist's guitarist, let's put it that way. And nobody knows. He did Buena Vista Social Club, for instance. That was all him. He knows American roots music like nobody. So
now, Brian, I know you
guy.
lived in Texas long enough to know what a cooter is.
I do. I had one. You've no idea how hard it was to get rid of it. Luckily, there was only one. I didn't have a lot of them. I've got no hair, so. What are you doing?
I had to go all the way across the room.
Right.
So don't Ry Cooder. I can't sing this guy's praises enough. He's so undervalued and underlooked. But again, luckily he's still with us. So that's the crew for the movie. All of pretty good crew. I mean, these guys knew their shit.
Yep.
Let me just take some stuff off here. So what's going on in that chat? Is anything happening?
I think
in the
I
chat?
got us caught up.
E. Clay Thomas was mentioning the movie Crossroads, which is a Walter Hill movie.
It is.
It's Ry Cooder music. Yes.
Yep.
And it's not the British tea time soap opera called Crossroads, which was appallingly bad.
Right.
And
nor is it the Britney Spears movie Crossroads.
No, Crosswords. Crosswords. I would have loved it if Crossroads, the British soap opera, had a few people killed with giant bear traps or things flying up. That would have made it a good show.
Would have made it more interesting.
Yeah. So we do have, though, activity-wise on the Christian Delorme once again emptying his bank account. Christian, you're the man. You don't have to pay me to get into my shows. You're going to be on a show with me on Wednesday. So. But I do appreciate it.
Like George Washington, because he keeps getting rid of all of his singles.
Has he got no pole to throw them at? No stripper on a pole?
I was fixing to say, I think he's
making it rain.
I got to get to the chat page here to paste these in. Hang on. Christian, I love you, brother. I absolutely do. You're going to love this movie because it's basically Cajuns or French Canadians without toques. So
exactly what it is. Yes.
Yeah. I don't know if that's the one I just made. Oh, here it is. So first of all, Christian Delorme, Slapshot, a Western on ice. I could see a case for that. Yeah, I could see a case for that. And there is another one. And he is suggesting indeed a great idea, which is Ry Cooder. So thanks for another $1, Christian. Ry Cooder, another Wednesday night impromptu stream, because Joe, Christian, and I do sort of extra. It's only talking roles on a Wednesday night sometimes.
We could do one on Ry Cooder, no doubt.
We could do. We could definitely do a Ry Cooder. Thinking of doing one this Wednesday on Chris Rea, so I haven't set it up yet, but that may happen. Most of you won't know who Chris Rea is, but then you watch the show and you'll find out. I'd just like to ask everyone in the chat, though, if they're okay with the chat coming up on the screen like that. I'm just testing that out. It seems to be working today.
Problem at all.
If anybody yeah, I can see it here, but is it appearing on the actual live stream?
It's not appearing on your broadcast now.
Yeah, no, I don't see it either.
No, I think it is.
Yeah, it is. Or it says like, where it's the stream elements part. Yeah, that's popping up.
I see. Well, yeah, that.
I think it's popping up. Yeah. We'll see how that goes. I'm actually trying to switch between Stream Elements and Streamlabs Cloudbot, but I haven't quite made the leap. So let's look at the cast, though, because this film had a deceptively good cast, which, if I could just get my fingers to work, we would be able to take a look at. Where's my producer? What's he doing?
Who knows what that guy's doing?
Dildo says, we can see it, but we don't care.
That's right. So I can see it's great because I can actually see the little chat on the screen, and I don't have to look to the side to see it over here. So. But we don't care. Well, I don't care either. Trust me, I don't care either. I do care you're all here, though. I hope you're having fun. And please tell us what you think of the movie. And comment on it. So, top of the cast list, Keith Carradine, one of that dynasty of Carradines. There's about 18 of them, I think.
Yeah.
And he's still with us. Again, luckily he's still with us. And I have a clip of him and Walter Hill to play later. He plays Private First Class Spencer, who's a kind of an amiable and sociable guy. right up to the point where he also does things like organizing hookers for the end of the exercise.
What a nice fella to have around. Yeah.
Nice guy. Now, I love it in the movie when the coach character says, I'm having nothing to do with that. And then Powers Booth is like, I got a wife, count me out. And then one of his African-American colleagues gives him shit and says, wait a minute, what about us? What about me and the brothers? He says, don't worry, I've got you taken care of. This is the New South after all.
Yeah.
So he's including them. And there's some banter of that nature. And I don't think I didn't record the subtitles when we show the stills, because there are a couple of words which would not be acceptable. So be careful of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's Hollywood royalty, this guy. Still works very hard. What was funny was he was in as Wild Bill Hickok at Deadwood, and Walter Hill directed the first episode of that, which was neat. But yeah, he's doing some great stuff. So good for him. I always loved him as an actor. His brother David, great actor as well. Grasshopper, Kung Fu.
Walter Hill won an Emmy for that.
I know, and he should have. If you've never seen Deadwood, anybody out there, watch it. It's just fucking phenomenal. One of the best shows of the last 20 years, undoubtedly.
Absolutely.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, finished way too soon. They did round it off with a movie length one, but that could have gone on for 20 seasons. I would have loved it. So Powers Booth, sadly no longer with us, of course. Corporal Charles Hardin. Now, he's a bit cynical, and he really doesn't want to be there, and he's contemptuous of a lot of the rest of the cast. And he does head it off with Spencer, though, despite the hooker thing. And I think they're both like the adults in the room, really, in a sense, although they're a bit chalk and cheese. And more evolved, I think, is the term I would use. Now, Booth is from Texas, El Paso in Texas. So there's a funny line in the film where he's the sergeant, Peter Coyote sergeant, saying, well, this isn't the Texas. This isn't the Texas National Guard. This is Louisiana National Guard. And why don't you like this? He said, I didn't particularly like the Texan National Guard either.
Right.
So he's just there because he has to be there, in a sense. Yeah, he was a Deadwood veteran as well. Played a brilliant character in Deadwood. Died too soon. And
one of the other reasons, just let me point this out real quick. 70s. One of the reasons why all these guys are like chemical engineers, teachers, things like that. When you join the Guard in a lot of states, and this is the reason why I joined it, you don't have to pay for tuition to go to college, to a state school.
Oh, that's
that's why you see a lot of these guys have a college education.
Lots of reasons to be there then. A lot of reasons to be there. Are you guys still getting an echo?
Yeah.
It's just since you started sharing this screen right here.
Hang on, let me do it. Let me stop that sharing, and I'll try it again without an audio. The audio thing clicked. Share screen.
Joe,
clicking.
You were talking nice and slow, so it was easy to hear you.
So how about now?
We're not echoing now.
Yeah. We're
good. Perfecto.
It's only because I didn't click audio. We don't need the audio in these images, so that's good. So tons of memorable roles, but one that will be, there's a little bit of trivia will come later. He played Curly Bill in Tombstone.
Yep.
He's not the only Curly Bill guy in this cast, which is quite amusing. Now, next, everyone's favorite Fred Ward.
Love Fred Ward.
I love Fred Ward. I did a little video when he died. I was so upset. It was a little tribute.
Remo Williams, The Adventure Begins. One of my favorite movies.
Passed away 2022. I would have loved to hang out with this guy.
Yes.
And you can't say that about most Hollywood actors. Yeah.
Can't forget Tremors.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that's right.
Say it again.
I said you can't forget Tremors either.
Tremors.
Yeah. Tremors, absolutely brilliant stuff. 1 degree of separation from Kevin Bacon, obviously. Corporal Lonnie Reese, who has the foresight to bring live ammo when everyone else is firing blanks. But he's a hot-headed prick too. Bit of an asshole. Hardin and him do not get on well. Hardin forces him to share the ammo. Things go slightly awry later after that. But he was always brilliant. The Right Stuff. Gus Grissom in The Right Stuff. Remo Williams.
Remo Williams.
Yes. Tremors. Time Rider, which I love. That's a great sci-fi movie. And Escape from Alcatraz.
Yep.
Yeah.
He was one of Clint's conspirators to get out of Alcatraz.
Yes, he was.
Just missed that guy badly. He was a great guy.
The Adventure of Lyle Swan.
Yeah. And Miami Blues were Alec Baldwin's first movie, where I think Fred Ward was the cop in that. Or am I getting confused?
I'll see.
Let's just be grateful he survived making a movie with Alec Baldwin.
Right?
He did. Baldwin's first movie, he hadn't yet figured out how to,
pull the trigger.
Anyway, rest in peace, Fred and Powers. Peter Coyote. He's not got the biggest part in the movie. He's got early on. There's some interesting stuff though. Staff Sergeant Crawford Poole. His character.
He's the squad leader.
Yeah, he's a squad leader. He's an actual Vietnam vet as well. Again, an adult in the room. Although fairly weak when it comes to certain command decisions, as we'll see. Hard-working actor. He's a narrator. There's a lot of wildlife narration and other things. Writer and producer, into Zen master stuff, and also quite vocal politically. So we'll move on.
Yeah.
However, he's still with us.
Those ones where you just watch his movies and don't listen to him outside the flick, right?
Yeah.
No, Jagged Edge is the one I always remember with him in it. He's a corrupt.
God,
he's a corrupt DA in it, and he's fantastic in that movie.
It's a great movie. Yeah.
Yep.
He's still working hard. Does a lot of stuff. Now, one of anybody and everybody's favorite in any movie he's ever in, Breon James.
Yeah. Isn't he Leon in Blade Runner?
That's
yes,
correct.
he was.
That's him.
Yeah.
That's him.
But his character, I love it. His character name in this is Cajun Trapper. He doesn't have a name. He's just
Have a name. That's right, because he's speaking French most of the time. I think he only speaks English at one point, and it's in that scene right there.
Well, he actually says he speaks English twice. You're right. He says English. He speaks English the other time when he says to
Forgot about
Harden,
the other time. Yes.
Kill him. Kill him.
Kill him.
Mm-hmm. You got to hand it to him. You've got to hand it to him.
You got to give him a hand.
I got it.
Wait a minute. Who's got the react?
I got it in here somewhere.
Come on, producer. Hit the react button. That's it. And this poor guy's minding his own business when this platoon of idiots shows up, imprison him and blow his shit up.
Yeah, just
like not just ransack it, they blow it up literally. What the fuck? What the fuck? That's it.
Well, that dynamite was pretty sweaty though.
It was pretty sweaty. But despite the crap that they put him through, he actually does Spencer and Harden a solid in the end because he's actually a good guy. He's just like, what the fuck are you doing here? You know, he isn't a bad guy.
I didn't know we were going to get into the specifics of the flick yet, but yeah, I think he did that because he watched these guys intently when they had him roped up, and he knew who was involved in this and who wasn't. And yeah,
well, I want to show the clip. I want to show the clip of the hunting dogs because the look on his face is like, you guys don't know what you're getting.
Yeah, you don't know what's up, do you? Yeah, that was. Oof.
Yeah. So anyway, he's Cajun Trapper. Another main cast member was Franklin Seals, Private First Class Sims.
I'm not supposed to be here.
I'm not supposed to be here. It's that kind of thing, yeah. Tragically died in 1990 of various horrible disease-related things. But he was great in a film called The Onion Field, if you've ever seen that, with James Woods.
Always makes me cry.
Yeah, he was in the series Silver Spoons.
That's right, yeah, Silver Spoons. So he died in 1990, so not a huge repertoire, but yeah, Onion Field is a brilliant movie.
Mm-hmm. The editor of The Onion Field couldn't cut it without crying.
That's right, yeah. You know,
Oh.
you have to peel back the layers of that joke. So Franklin Seals, pictured here on the left, Private First Class Sims. Private, that was jumping ahead here. Seals was before. This is TK Carter, Private Tyrone Cribbs. There are certain characters when you see them in the earlier part when they're having the battle, you think this guy's marked for death.
Yeah.
In the script.
Yeah.
4 or 5, then you go, yeah, he's not going to make it. He's not going to make it. This guy doesn't make it. Spoiler alert. But he has the highly memorable death. So look out for that one.
Yes.
Well, he was Knowles in The Thing.
Yes, he was.
Yep, he was.
And so he was in Dr. Detroit. And he was Rocksteady in the Transformers.
Yep.
I looked it up.
No, it's good stuff.
No, John knows all this stuff right off the top of his head. That's how good he is.
Yeah.
Just for being in The Thing, he deserves legendary status.
There you go.
Another one, moving on. I love this picture of him.
Yeah.
I could have picked any picture, but I picked this. Lewis Smith, who plays Private Stuckey, who's the real asshole of the piece.
Appropriate name.
The absolute freaking mouth breather who starts all of this.
Who starts all of this crap?
Starts
Yeah.
it all. He's got a hot head with no weapon control skills. No.
Because firing blanks at the locals is a great way to improve relations.
Yeah, but he did it in his own platoon. I mean, they should have had the shit kicked out of him there.
Right.
But,
and
with the name Stuckey, I think.
Duty unit, he would have.
Yeah.
Another reason why I tried to give the context I gave earlier about these guys not being full-time military, because this is some shenanigans that probably would go on. Okay, so
Stuckey's death was so satisfying, as Dildo says. He's quite right. This is one of the most memorable deaths, which is why I felt I just had to show this as his picture.
Yeah. How lucky is this guy?
ironic,
He finds the one patch of friggin' quicksand in a swamp, right?
And everyone's cheering when you're watching the movie. You're going,
oh
"Thank
yeah,
fuck."
Yeah.
So, but he was in one of my favorite movies, Buckaroo Banzai.
Yes.
Perfect Tommy.
Yeah.
Perfect Tommy,
love that
baby.
movie.
Yeah.
Love
Totally
that
different character. Totally different
Cruel.
character. Yeah.
And then he also played, here's where I go back to Powers Booth. He also played Curly Bill in the movie Wyatt Earp.
Yeah.
So competing Curly Bills were in this movie together. Which is, I love trivia like that. That's just so funny. What's Darius saying? General Joe's Atmosphere.
Joe said, this is the kind of thing that would go on. And I said, General, did you order the code red?
You're damn right I did.
Yeah.
Because deep down in places you don't talk about at parties, you want me on that wall. You need me on that. That's right.
Don't need people like me.
So we got 3 guys left in the main cast. Mad Martigan would have loved this movie. There's no women apart from in the Cajun dance at the end. He would have fucking loved this. Sergeant Casper, who thinks he's a hard ass, but is pretty dumb. And
I just felt so sorry for this guy.
Yeah, he's out of his depth.
He's just trying to do his job, man. He really is. And
he's very out of his depth.
Yeah.
And he's been in a ton of stuff. A lot of it wasn't really stuff I particularly was into, but he did play Sonny West in Kurt Russell's Elvis movie, the John Carpenter one.
Mm-hmm.
So kudos to him for that, because I love that movie too. 2 more to go. First of all, Carlos Brown, as he was credited. As he was credited in the movie, although his real name is Alan Autry, and that's how he goes by now again. It's a family thing.
So he did like a Charlie Sheen. You know, Carlos Estevez no more.
Exactly. I don't recall him from his football days. I don't know whether he was big leagues or not.
No, I don't either.
Yeah. But he is a Louisiana native, and he did play in the NFL apparently, and his character in this kind of starts out as a bit of a hard man, but it goes nutso pretty quickly.
Yeah, he's the guy. He's the guy that blows up the Cajuns' house when he loses his mind. He's the coach. He's the high school football coach. Yeah.
So
he loses it. He loses it. The stress
starts
breaks
very
him. Yeah.
starts very hard and straight laced. Like he gets into a fight with it's Carter, Tyrone Cribbs, because Cribbs makes a gay joke at him and he does not like it. But he falls apart pretty damn quick when things go wrong.
Yeah, when the stress gets applied, he snaps, no doubt.
So now we come to the total badass legend of the movie.
You know.
Sonny Landham. His character's name was Hunter, and that's it.
It is. It is.
And I'm not going to say anything about his career or the bona fides of it. I'm just going to leave you with this picture.
Yeah, there he is.
That's all we have to say.
Yeah.
I loved him in the opening scene of 48 Hours. Firewater. Is that what you want, Tonto? Firewater.
That's right. Yeah.
You got a big mouth, convict. Yeah. He's a
man.
bad dude, man. Love him.
Yeah, this man is so much of a genre legend. It's total badass. And I'll put that up there and leave it at that.
That's all you need to know right there. Yep.
If nobody knows what that is, then you're in the wrong stream.
You are in the wrong stream. You need to leave now, no doubt.
So that was the cast, principal cast. There was a lot of local extras, certainly with the Cajun scenes and whatever. And so let's fire up some copyright claiming stills. Actually, no. If you bear with me, I do want to show you a couple of very small clips of video. Then we'll get into the stills and talk about the film as it goes on. But I do have a couple of really neat video clips, so let me just get those up. This is from the extras of the Blu-ray. This is Peter Coyote and Powers Booth talking about the movie. So, oh, sorry.
You know what it's like to walk around in a chilled wetsuit in February in Caddo Lake, Louisiana? Well, it's a nightmare. But it's always like that in the film business. You're always shooting a beach blanket movie in Alaska in February, and you're shooting an Eskimo movie in Beverly Hills in July. It's just the way they work it out.
It was not only intense for us as actors, it was intense for everyone involved. Crew, everybody. We were all up to our butts in water. Behind the scenes and on camera weren't that much different because it wasn't like, oh, I go to my comfortable trailer or anything. You just didn't. Most of the time we sat on stumps of wood and all got webbed feet. And just to walk through it, let's just run through it, which we did a lot, was tough. But like I said, the dolly guys, they were over there, they'd built these tracks and they were running through the same stuff.
So that's just a little snippet from the backstage. I mean, in the Blu-ray, there's a bunch of this stuff. I thought that was quite neat because it does show you the conditions they were working in. I mean, that's Joe's backyard, right?
Yes, it is. And believe it or not, it is cold in January here. It's not as cold as it may be where you're at, Brian, but yeah, it does get cold.
Well, I can imagine it gets cold. They actually say that in the movie when the Peter Coyote sergeant is saying, we're going to have all sorts of weather here. Cold at night, hot during the day, wet, dry, whatever. Couple more clips.
Dare we say that's Joe's atmosphere?
That is Joe's atmosphere, my friend. If you don't like the weather here, just wait a couple of seconds. It'll change.
Yeah. So here's the key scene where they steal the boats, well, borrow, and then Stucky goes nuts.
Hey, look over there.
Over there being where they got the boats from.
Yeah, so
there they are.
And they just don't know how to handle it. They don't know how to handle it. And stuff.
Not canoes, they're pirogues, fellas.
Pirogues. I'm just kidding.
Dumb coon asses.
But look at the hatred on his face.
And I hope they find my note.
Maybe they only speak French.
Well, does anybody speak French?
Yeah! Voulez-vous fuck me?
Reese, knock that shit off. We're bringing them back. We're bringing them back.
Let them have it. Take no prisoners.
I'm hoping the stream hasn't been taken down yet.
idiots. Complete idiots.
This is
that was
just
the moment
insane.
that was the moment where this turned from a, hey, we borrowed your boat, sorry, we'll bring them back, to, oh my god, this fucking escalated.
The shit's hitting the fan now. Yeah, you knew there was.
And that sergeant knew it too. That's why he was hollering at his guys to get moving. Yep.
You idiots.
Like that scene in Very Bad Things where they're having a party and then suddenly.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Oh.
Ugh.
Took him out.
That is a hell of a shot from a hunter. The guy's a hunter.
Oh yeah.
Some hunters are the best shots you'll ever see.
Come on, brother. You kidding me? You ever see the movie The Deer Hunter? That I mean, wow. Yeah, they can shoot, no doubt.
I gotta figure out how to stop sharing this. The button doesn't come up to stop sharing. Oh my god!
Let me see.
You'll make it. It'll be all right.
It's a show.
But yeah, I thought when I saw that shot the first time I watched this, I was like, "Wow, that looks like the Zapruder film, man." That guy just took him out.
Just kick someone out.
Yeah.
Did I kick someone out? Or we're all here? We're all
here. No, we're here.
So that's the key thing when things go wrong, because up to that it's just a bunch of goofy idiots out of their water, so to speak, and then it's like.
But when you break it down, they're in those guys' backyard, and they stole their shit.
Yeah,
Mom always.
And then they shot at it.
It didn't like me playing that one, so I might not play the other one. But I will show. It's court-martial offense. Yeah, let's move forward. I'll put the stills on, so we hopefully should be okay with those. Share, and then we just start chatting about things as they develop. So, share. Oh, wrong one.
Lord Thought says, as a trained sniper, hunters can shoot.
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah. Well, you shoot.
That's all a sniper is a trained a hunter. What's a sniper doing?
Right.
Trying to kill his target.
That's all he does.
So these, we'll just let these run. These are the stills.
Yeah.
They can get a smaller.
Louisiana, 1973. Yeah, man.
Hopefully we won't get. I did test this beforehand by uploading it to YouTube, and it seemed okay. I didn't get any copyright stuff. So, and I'm glad I didn't put the subtitles on, because there are certain words used. This is they're turning up. I think it's a Saturday.
Yeah, it's a weekend maneuver. They always do them from a Saturday to a Sunday. Yeah.
Usually you show up Friday night, get all your gear out, and get ready to go, and then Saturday morning you'd show up and start doing the thing.
Yep.
And this is when he starts to ask Powers Booth, Hardin, about the El Paso thing. And, well, we do things different in Louisiana National Guard, whatever.
Now, notice the haircuts here, guys. They're not very within regs, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I do.
Especially
any kind of active military, they'd just be like, no.
Yeah, they'd have them get their hair cut. If somebody came in on maneuvers looking like that, they would say something to them about it. You know,
when they'd go get the clippers and shave that man.
Yeah.
So they're blowing off their blanks. None of them realizing that blanks are dangerous too. Plus, all the ejected cartridges are hitting them. They're going sideways.
Yeah, they're kind of close together. First of all, the other thing I didn't understand why they're shooting blanks. I mean, is it a weapon cleaning exercise? Is that what it is? Because that's not all.
I think those are live rounds. Because one thing they don't do in this movie is they don't show what you would actually need to fire blanks, which is blank fire adapter.
Yeah, the blank adapters. That's what. That's the thing that's missing. It looks like a box that you screw on to the end of the weapon, and if you don't have that, you pull the trigger once, and it'll only fire once because there'll be no recoil.
All the gas that's supposed to be going.
Yeah, so that's a little technical thing that that should
going
be
out
there.
the end of the barrel.
Yeah. Now we're getting Keith Carradine talking about the hookers he's got lined up for when they get back. Much to coaches discussed, and Hardin's like,
see that's a change in the times right there, because most football coaches I know now would be like, hey, okay, cool.
Well, I think I read about his character that he was a bit of a he thought of himself as an academic sportsman. He was a coach at university. He considered himself to be a moral man, whatever.
Yes.
Blah, blah, blah. So he wasn't that kind of coach who just, get stuck into anything.
Also, there might have been a reason why he got so butthurt at the gay joke at the beginning.
So the bit there, which I didn't. That's when he gets into it with. He doesn't get into it. He has a laugh with TK there, and he says, "I've got to protect you from good Southern women, but I have made arrangements. It's the New South after all."
Yeah. It's explaining to Powers Booth that they like to eat their moon pies and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Louisiana.
And then Powers Booth talks about how did you do it in Texas?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we had it all well organized. We sat and watched the ball game, played craps,
right,
and slept. But there's Stucky fires his weapons off at
and he's bitching at him. Yeah,
Carter
then is because they weren't being deployed, so they didn't take it seriously. They didn't train all that hard. Like it was just kind of like, we got to show up and do this thing, so we're doing it. So let's.
I got in an argument with a guy one time, about the light discipline. I was like, guys, you're blinding me with these flashlights. I was like, if you turn them off, you'll be able to see just fine. Yeah, but I can't find stuff in my ruck. I said, well, then pack your ruck the same way every time. You won't need a damn light. You'll know where everything is. And they're like, oh, I hadn't thought of that. I mean, it was like I was training them, if you understand what I'm saying. It was, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
but God love them. I enjoyed serving with every one of them. You know what I mean?
So, but Hardin and Spencer here start to build a little bit of a bond. Because Hardin's Spencer's telling them all about the others. Yeah, Coach is a certain type. Stucky's a certain type.
Yeah,
I mean he is sticking up for them, saying they're okay, but. I think we're past the point where he says, they're just a bunch of dumb Louisiana rednecks.
Right.
So anyway, this is all the preamble. It's actually really tightly done, I think, because it does introduce you to each character and immediately you get their personality.
In an effective way, because this is the kind of banter that would go on before you started maneuvers, no doubt. Yeah. And you can tell he's the one Vietnam vet because he's got something tucked in his band on his helmet.
He's got a can of dip.
He's using his helmet to carry stuff. Yeah.
What's the can? What is it?
Chewing tobacco.
It's chewing tobacco. It's Copenhagen.
Tobacco.
Yeah.
He just doesn't have a "Born to Kill" written on his helmet, which
he doesn't.
So one difference between this and Deliverance, which everyone compares them to, is that obviously there's a Vietnam allegory strongly suggested here, although Walter Hill says that's not really the case. But I feel it's a very different setup anyway. And this is a bunch of National Guardsmen. Burt Reynolds and crew were hunters. There was the Appalachians. This is the swamps of the bayou. It's a very different setting.
No banjos.
No banjos and no ninjas.
No ninjas.
No ninjas either.
No.
So I don't think the two films. I think it's a bunch of guys lost in a hostile environment, but there's a million movies like that. I don't see the films as being that.
I remember the tagline for this when the posters first came out. It was that thing that you have. It was the picture of the guy hit deep in water, but it said "Not since Deliverance" on it. That's what it said on the poster. I do remember that. And
I've got a bunch of the posters we could show if we've got time.
And I really wish you could play the music over the credits right now because the music is so good in this flick, man.
Right, so atmospheric.
Just that slow slide guitar, like a little blues riff. It's just freaking chill.
It's fantastic.
I love it.
Those of you watching, if you haven't seen this, watch it. Because the soundtrack alone is worth watching it for.
It's great. Based on the setting and a couple of the characters, this actually reminds me more of a movie I watched with Slasher called Snake Eater than Deliverance, because that actually takes place, in the Louisiana Bayou, and the villains they're Cajuns. They're like a weird, creepy family. Not Joe's family, but like
no, not mine. Mine's
almost like
actually
a Deliverance kind of family.
I'm
So
the
we're
first
gonna-
generation born down here.
Okay.
Everybody else is from the East Coast and the North,
that's why you're
Maine and
normal.
Massachusetts. So.
See, I was going to talk about it later, but the fact that you get very strongly out of this is that when they meet all the other Cajuns later, the Cajuns are not the bad guys. In fact, those people are oblivious to what's going on here. They're just having their big cookout and having a bit of a celebration. It's the weekend, they're partying. They have no idea about any of this is going on, and they're all extremely welcoming.
Yes.
Which is what the Acadian peoples are. I mean, the Canadian one's the same, and up in Maine and whatever. There is no, it's a hardcore group that these guys have fallen foul of. Almost like a splinter group of their own. Of serious guys.
Yes, absolutely. Serious guys that are, it's obviously a group of hunters that are tightly knit. And our one-armed rifleman there is not part of them.
No.
But he knows who they are. And I would imagine everybody in that town they make it to knows who these guys are. And probably steer clear of them. You know what I mean? These are the kind of guys that never come out of those woods. They live definitely a rural kind of living, and it's hard.
Yeah,
and
it is, but they just want to be left alone, which is
they want to be left
admire
alone.
that. I admire that a lot, you know.
Yep.
I would like to point out there's something. Oh, sorry.
No, I was just going to say, according to Dave Ball, Burt Reynolds shot gator in Caddo Lake. I could believe that. Yeah, it looks like it. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to point out that this is an extremely unrealistic movie. There's not one alligator seen in the entire film.
Yeah, you don't see a gator anywhere in here. Yep.
That's for sure. It's January. It's pretty cold.
It is January, but yeah.
The animals
they're not very active in
there's
the
no animal threat.
times.
It's human threat only.
Mm-hmm.
Human threat only. Did we pass the bit? I don't know if I've missed it yet with Fred Ward when he cuts their fishing nets.
Yeah,
we have. He cuts all the nets and whatever, and like first act of vandalism.
Yeah, and like especially like Joe said, these people are really rural, so they depend on that shit.
Yeah,
so,
this is
it's
how
not
they
just
live.
Like, oh, this asshole cut my fishing net down. That's annoying. It's hey, I use that every day, and you just ruined it.
Yep.
So they're already being like not on good terms. And then you steal their boats, which is probably how they get most places because this is the swamp in Louisiana. There's more rivers out there than the road. So,
No doubt.
I think as they say, how are they going to get their boats back? You know, and
yeah,
it's just there's no.
And one thing, let me point this out. The reason why they take the boats, and I guess when he pulls out the map, we'll find that out. But that's why I said what I said about, if you don't like the weather, just wait a minute, it'll change. He's right. Half of that map would be different times of the year. Half of the stuff that they're looking at would be underwater. Yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm.
But this is where I think the sergeant, Coyote Sergeant Crawford Poole, I don't think really thinks this through. He's initially hesitant, but then he goes, okay, one of the guys wants to do it, we'll do it. Mm-hmm. He could have been more firm about how they were going to handle this. Can we go look for these guys? They must be around somewhere. There's fresh kills here. They can't just be gone.
They're around here somewhere, right?
And he especially should know better because he's the Vietnam vet in the group. And just like, don't piss off the locals. We're out here alone. We don't have any ammo.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not fuck around, shall we?
Yeah. Find them and ask if you can get them to ferry you over and give them $50 or something. It just.
Yeah, but then. Keith Carradine, we forgot about the fact that Keith Carradine brings up the hookers with him. So,
it's funny that he just passed. We can't see the line that he said there, but he says something about there's some girls waiting for some close military penetration or something.
That's it.
Small arms military penetration.
Squad penetration or something.
Giggity.
Yep.
No lean in her Bayou Queens.
And that kind of tipped him towards, okay, they'll be all right without the boats. Right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Dildo says, shh, then the movie doesn't happen.
Right? Then the movie doesn't happen.
They've made their decision here. So
they don't make these stupid decisions.
Yeah. Oh, I thought of this, Clay, that, instead of money, give them something like tangible they could use, like, I don't know, bullets. Well, maybe they wouldn't give them bullets because they're in such short supply, but in theory.
Hand him one of the rifles. It got lost in the swamp.
There you go.
Well, I mean, these are M16. Yeah. These are A1s. These are the old school full auto version. Like that's the shit you don't want to lose. That's how you end up doing years in jail.
Yeah.
It's also they do already know.
It does puzzle me though that they're clearly from Louisiana, maybe even from fairly close. I mean, these guys could be from Baton Rouge or not even way over in the east of Louisiana, and they seem so clueless about the people that they're in amongst.
Well, to be fair, these guys probably all live in a city. They've heard about the reputation of the Bayou folk, but they've never really experienced it. You can tell from the way they're acting. They're not from this area at all. Even
if you're from,
they showed up in deuce and a half military vehicles, so they were trucked there.
That far,
and they're not from there. Yeah.
And
most National Guard units are based in major cities.
And I guess Cajuns the Cajun community and culture is fairly insular, or was in those days.
Or
There's
excellent.
been a million movies made about them since, but
the
this idiot.
Can we show that on YouTube?
Oh yeah, blast! Wow.
Took him. Well, it's I think we can show that. Okay.
It's not a nipple. It's fine.
It's not
a nipple.
It'd be all right.
There may be nipples in this, but they don't belong to women.
Yeah, they're not female presenting nipples. It's part of the Tumblr phrasing.
How do they know?
Well, that's a question for Tumblr.
It's true.
So total panic because there's Crawford Poole gone, sergeant. So now the other idiot sergeant's in charge theoretically.
Yeah, he is.
Can't remember his name now.
Yeah,
Casper, Sergeant Casper.
Yeah, Casper.
He's now theoretically in charge.
They keep saying his name like a curse word as this movie goes on.
Ghost. Yeah. Yeah.
And that poor guy right there. When I was watching this movie the first time, and every time he would say, "We need to go," what was he saying? We need to go west to go north or something like that. I was like, dude, that's not how the sun works.
They need to go east to go north.
That's it. I was like, no, that's not how it works, bro.
You could try just going north.
You could just try going north.
Because theoretically, as they keep talking about, they're not that far from an interstate.
Yeah, and well, they don't know where they're at this
and
point because they've lost the map. If you remember, they did lose the map in the melee there. Okay,
they lost
the compass. So that's why they keep coming up with this east to go north crap.
His coach losing it already.
Mm-hmm.
But they
Fred
actually
Ward,
find,
man,
don't they find a railway
he has
line?
some knowledge of this area because he's the one that brought the ammo. Yeah,
shake hands, my arse. Stookie deserves a kicking.
Yeah,
Dildo, you know why?
Idiot. So they're all soaked.
Know why? Sorry, go ahead.
The radio's in the water as well, which is
everything that could help them out and get them out of there that quick is gone right now. So they're stuck like Chuck. And so, as any people under duress would do, they go back to their base character, right? Now we're seeing a bunch of college-educated dudes that don't know anything about being in the woods and what they would do. Right?
Yep. They have no freaking
no offense
clue.
taken.
Well, I'm just saying, I'm one of those guys. I come from a bunch of hunters and stuff in northern Maine that would be just fine with this situation. They'd get out of there just fine. Me, I'd be lost. The only thing that would help me is my combat training I've had in the Army, and that's it. That's the only thing that would help me out.
Well, there's another thing that they don't really talk about at this point, which is that these guys could still be coming after them.
Yeah.
They haven't yet. Now they're talking here about we're going to get out of here and what we're going to do with the body and blah, blah, blah. None of them are saying they could be after us.
No, they're not. They're not even thinking like that. Not yet.
Not yet. This is where the film really started to get very interesting.
Yeah, like that's one of the interesting things is like it never crosses in any of their minds that this might not be over.
Yeah.
because you still have their boats.
And the
they're
dynamic.
not going away until they get it back.
I think, Darius, you made a good point there. Fred Ward does look a bit like John Bernthal.
To me, he does.
Yeah, he does.
I mean,
yeah, he does. Mm-hmm.
Kind of reminded me of him
indeed.
too in his mannerisms and the way he's talking and acting. He kind of did remind me of Shane from The Walking Dead a little bit.
He's got that
and
flat
Punisher.
nose. Yep.
Yeah.
I would just like to say hello to Connor B, who's over on the Odyssey side. Good to see you, buddy. Doppelgamer's over there too. Great to see you. Thanks for being over there, keeping it warm.
One man shows talk about Bubba Skinner.
But yeah, that right there would be cold, fellas, in January. Oh my God, that would be cold. Yikes. I'm sure they
And
had scuba suits on under that too, because if you had to just, if you were wearing socks like that all day, oh my God, your feet would be wrecked by the end of the day. Good Lord.
Can you say trench foot?
Trench foot, exactly. Fred Ward's character, I don't know if it's here or just a little bit further along, it starts to talk about going back to get those Cajun guys and get revenge. So, because he's like turning into a hot-headed idiot. So Hardin says, well, what we're going to do is swim 200 yards across that water and shoot them with our blanks.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, is why they don't get issued live ammo, because they're going to do something dumb with it.
Dumb. Yeah. Absolutely.
Once again, this is not indicative of the military of today. They are not weekend warriors anymore. They are well-trained combat soldiers, no doubt.
And even when you're out on the woods like this, they do issue you now a magazine of live ammo for, whatever you run across, usually something like a bear or something like that,
right.
You're not just going to be, making bang noises at it and hoping it goes away.
Yeah.
So
they're eating sea rats. That's how old this movie is. You see that? They're eating sea rats, man. That little bitty can opener they gave you to open that stuff with. Oh my God.
So it's interesting though.
Sea
just
rations.
Yes,
sea rations,
that's what a sea rat is. Sea rations. Yes.
I was picturing a rat from the sea.
It's interesting how quickly they disintegrated. Like, they're like, you would think they'd been out there for weeks.
I think this is where they let them know that Fred Ward's characters got ammo and they need to spread it around. Yeah, Coach is sitting there telling them, share it, man. We got to spread that around. We know you got some. Because he's apparently a notorious poacher or something like that.
This is where Hardin and him come to blows for the first time, not for the last time.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're in deep shit, I think.
We're doomed.
Oh man.
Yeah,
so like this, the sergeant there is supposed to. This is where he should be the one yanking their leash a little bit and going, "Hey, knock that shit off. This is what we need to be doing."
He's just not strong enough.
No, he's not. The other sergeant, the one that got taken out, probably would have. He'd have probably straightened these guys out super quick.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
And he'd have known about Homeboy's ammo too. And he'd have been saying, "Give it up,"
But yeah, Hardin gets behind him with a knife and holds his knife to his throat, and you're giving us that ammo.
Yeah. I love Powers Booth's character and I love their dynamic, these two, because Keith Carradine's character is just, he's just trying to get along. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but he does say to Hardin, "Is that how you do things in El Paso?" He goes, "Yeah, pretty much." That's how we grew up.
Yeah.
Thought you were some kind of chemical engineer. I am. But I'm out of the habit of spending time with a bunch of rednecks.
Yeah, that's it.
Don't underestimate a redneck.
Indeed.
Some of the best engineers you'll ever see.
People think.
Oh, Chris, I was born to be a redneck.
Redneck engineering, some of the best. No doubt.
You give those boys a couple of lengths of steel pipe, some duct tape, and a couple of rocks, and they'll make you some pretty impressive stuff.
Yeah, so darkness has fallen, but they still are not thinking that they're being tracked. They still don't know anything.
No.
It's all about getting out, but those guys have been active.
Oh, have a good night, Dave Bob.
Dave Bob, good to see you, buddy. Thanks for being here.
Take care, Dave Bob.
Hope you enjoyed it, mate.
Small world. Had somebody in here from just the other side of the base from me. That's cool.
That's pretty cool, yeah.
This just made me smile. Christopher says, my son came back from basic and he had lasagna rations.
Or did he have a lasagna rash?
That doesn't sound like fun.
Rednecks built the pyramids. It is known. Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, from a certain point of view, every culture ever has had rednecks in some form.
Yeah. I guess when we're talking rednecks, we're talking about the people that are educated in the real world, not book educated. That's what we're talking about here. Guys that are smart in a different kind of way. Yeah.
Right.
They may not be book smart, but they know how to fix something. You know,
yeah,
they know how to
I've met a lot of Southern people in the U.S. I've never met a Cletus the slack-jawed yokel from The Simpsons, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, like they're rural, but they ain't dumb.
Yeah,
exactly.
No, not at all.
This is the common misconception of city people and of Hollywood. Rural people equals dumb.
Yeah,
they're the ones that will survive the coming apocalypse, not the city dwellers.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. While you're all debating on what to do, I'm just going to be out here shooting deer and living my best life.
I'm going to be out here living off the land like I always have. Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you were watching
honestly, like in any kind of disaster, it would kind of be like, you know, that Jeremy Clarkson line of, oh no. Anyway.
But again, we can't play the music, but there was some fantastic atmospheric music in that last few scenes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's a real shame we can't do it. Now they've come across, is this where they come across?
Yeah, they come across homeboy's gin factory out in the middle of the woods. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, it's his home, you know.
Yeah.
It's a fixer-upper.
Mm-hmm. It's a fixer-upper, to be sure.
I think they're about to, so they're going to do something with it.
The argument is we don't even know if this guy's with them.
We don't.
Right? And
at this point.
But they've got revenge on their minds, half of them, and they're being driven by their macho-ness and all this good stuff. And yeah. You notice who's hanging back, right?
They come across is going to get it.
You notice who's hanging back. It's the two guys actually trying to think their way out of this.
That's right. Instead of just shoot first. Yeah. I take it they all got a few of the rounds. Then all of them.
Yeah, they gave them a few, but they don't have many.
They won't last long.
That many guys. Even if he had 100-round box, they wouldn't have many with that many guys.
Well, in a semi-automatic or a fully automatic, be gone within a heartbeat.
Well, you can switch it. You can switch it between the two, and I'm sure they're.
Yeah, but even on semi, you're going to burst 5 at one time or something?
For 5 guys, that's 1 20-round mag each, which is what they were using at this point. And if you flip that over to full auto, which I guarantee they would because they don't have any discipline, that's going to be gone in
just
10 seconds.
A couple of pulls. Yep.
Burp, done.
Yeah, and this is where they come across our hero of the piece, really. I'd like to think of him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the same thing. Yeah.
And they're going to shoot him ridiculously.
You can't say he doesn't help him.
That's right. And he speaks at this point, he's only talking French to them.
Yeah.
Apparently, that's not Breon James's natural accent. He had to study hard to do this movie.
He did a good job at it.
He did a great job.
Most Cajuns, you can't understand what the hell they're saying. Even when they're speaking English, you can't understand what the hell they're saying.
Yeah,
that's a hard accent to do, especially because like you think Louisiana, you'd want to go more southern, but it's really not. It's more like
the
French,
only
but
bit,
not really.
The only bit I caught out of the whole thing that he said was "shoot the puck,"
and then you get free.
Then you get free, and then you feel shame.
And then you feel shame. And
You're
then
doing
you
it.
get free.
You're some English pig with no brain.
That's right, with no brain. Yeah. So, thank you again to our wonderful anonymous friend who may well be Christian Delorme. Another buck for the tip jar. Thank you, my friend. And nod to Pope Metallicus. Gear Jammer is a great trucking song, but Roll On Down the Highway beats it. Sorry, buddy.
Fair, fair.
I like Gear Jammer. I've got the George Thorogood version. It's pretty good, kick-ass.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Christian also has the most incredible pool of dollar bills. Clearly doesn't go out to the same kind of clubs I do.
Can you back up a couple of
I will. Just,
okay.
Let me do that. Pause. Let's see if I can do it without totally.
The part it's fine. Just keep going. But the part they just showed where Keith Carradine was talking to our one-armed guy. No, a little bit more. It's one where Carradine and the one-armed guy are talking. He's being interrogated, and that's fine. That's fine. Just
let start from here. No, that's okay. Oh, a little bit.
But that's more towards what I was saying earlier, that these guys all live in cities and really don't know what's going on in the swamp, because if you remember in the film, Keith Carradine's character says that he learned some French in high school, right? But he points out the fact that this guy's speaking Cajun. It's not really Cajun. French. I can't really understand what he's saying.
It is very different.
Yeah, it's totally different.
It's patois, really. And very different accent and very different inflection. Yeah, if you listen to any of their, I've got a few Cajun things, albums and stuff, and the lyrics are, even though I know a bit of French, the lyrics are extremely difficult to get. But I love it. I mean, actually, they are a lovely culture.
But that's what I'm saying. That's a great way to show the audience that these guys have no clue what goes on in these swamps. They don't know what is going on with this type of lifestyle. They're all from cities. They don't know. They have no clue. They're out of their element, and that's
they are. And it's what's surprising me, given that they're in the same bloody state. It can't be that unknown what the swamps and the Cajuns are like. But
you think
so
not,
Christian, sorry, $1 from Christian Delorme, and shout out to Lord Thoth. He's from the most Acadian part of New Brunswick. He is indeed, and there are deep connections between the Acadians of the northeast and the south here. So I think the Acadians and the Cajuns in the south are really the only remnants of the French-speaking immigrants that used to be quite widespread in America. They seem to have just concentrated in two areas.
There,
yeah.
And they make it a point to, especially in New Orleans, to keep that French Quarter as intact as possible. They're always renovating things down there. You know,
the difference there is you can sometimes not tell the difference between the Spanish and the French influences.
Yeah,
it's like, which is that Spanish? Is that French? They kind of look the same in some places.
Creole,
Creole.
Oh, now this emoji won't display, but this is a salute from Lord Thoth. This little box.
Where is that?
This comment from the chat. It won't display because
right.
Mela doesn't have all the new emojis, but it's a salute.
Okay. Gotcha. It's a little box. Yeah.
I can see it here. I don't know if it's not showing on the stream.
No, it won't.
It's not. It's just showing a little box there.
Now, if you look at the dynamite when he shows it,
this is
what I'm talking about. This is what I was talking about when I said it's sweaty. If you look how corroded it is, that's extremely unstable dynamite.
That stuff is ready to go. It's gonna go. Yeah, right here. He's sitting there saying, I just don't get it. I don't know what he's saying. Yeah.
They're ransacking this poor guy's home. I mean, that's all he's got.
There it is.
Yeah. You see how yuck that is? Yeah.
That's nitroglycerin that has leaked out of the dynamite.
Yep.
What you're saying is that it was an accident waiting to happen, that these soldiers just hurried it along a little.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Molotov cocktail didn't help much.
No, that didn't help at all.
So the Soul Assassin is comparing me to Breon James, and quite frankly, if I could keep the arm, I would be okay with that. You know, I have to keep the arm though.
Now he's trying to go about it in a military fashion. We confiscate this and that and the other thing, and you know, he's trying to do his job. I felt so bad for that dude, Casper. I really did.
Yeah, and there's a lot of arguing going on between what they should do with him. Stucky and others Fred Ward's wants to torture him. You know, Spencer. Now Coach is starting to lose it here.
Yeah, he is. He's already losing it. Yep.
Sension says, "Don't be a city boy. Lose your arm."
Yeah.
You know, well, I do have another limb that's almost as long as an arm, and maybe that would make up for it.
Let's put a poll up to guess what it is.
They don't call me tripod for nothing, you know.
It's the quickening.
Yes.
Hey, listen, buddy. Do you know where a guy can get a rub and a tug around here? What?
Yeah. Keith Carradine's got it set up at the end of the road there, man.
Exactly. He's got it set up.
He's got it all set up. We can just get there.
This is just nuts. I mean, why? He's going right off the rails.
Yeah, he has. He's painting on himself and oh my God. Yeah.
Just to what end? I don't know. I mean, I know he's a religious guy.
Be like, okay, coach, we're gonna go sit over here now and have a nice quiet lie down.
And he lights it and he just walks around with it.
Yep.
Yeah, and there's poor Breon James going, "That's my life's fucking collection of shit there.
What are you doing, dude?
It may not have looked much, but it's mine." Look at his face.
He's like, "You asshole blew up my shack."
Even Stucky's surprised by that one.
Now, I don't think I can go that far back, but you said you don't know why he painted the cross, and there was a comment in the chat about that he was frustrated that people didn't get why he painted the cross.
Yeah, he says that. Yeah, I figured you'd get it. He says to somebody, you know.
I'm not entirely sure why he did it. I may have missed that bit, but
they do get into the. He tries to explain it, but he was saying it was a joke, is what it was, and. I think okay, you've lost your mind.
Talking about. They're asking. Yeah, I've actually got the Amazon Prime stream of it going right now, so I can get some of the phrases, and that'll teach them. He says, or something. That'll teach them not to mess with us. You went and blew the shit out of everything. Well, I do what I do. Why did you paint the cross on your chest for? It's part of the joke.
Yeah, it's part of the joke.
Yeah, it's a corporal joke, private. It's a corporal joke, private.
Yeah.
I still don't get it myself, but you know,
yeah, I don't get it either. It's just the fact that he's losing his shit, is what it is. The stress has gotten to him. He is losing it.
He has quite clearly gone insane.
Absolutely.
And then the voice of reason, Powers Booth says, "Why don't we just find this interstate?"
Yeah. Let's find the interstate and get the hell out of here.
Let's get going, Casper. I think your little raid's about finished. But poor Breon James, that was it was shit, but it was his shit.
It was his shit.
Yeah. He spent years using that outside toilet, you know.
Yeah, I did.
That was like decades of accumulation there.
So much work. Who's going to clean that up?
Yeah. So they're back off out to the bayou.
Yeah.
And this poor fucker, he's got an arm, he's one good arm tied down.
Which I'm guessing the sweaty dynamite had something to do with that.
Could be.
Might have.
It's always possible.
The maid. Ruben is crazy.
Yeah. It's about, so this is where it really starts to get into the real bad guys who've obviously been trailing them the entire time.
Yep.
Well, there's a line in there that I've been hanging around N-words my entire life.
Mm-hmm.
Oops. And this coach apologizing. I was a little over emotional.
Yeah.
You could say that, yeah.
You could say that,
A little
yeah.
over emotional. You painted a blood cross on your chest and blew up a shack.
That's right.
I think we're a little past that.
Ruben's here. Good to see you, buddy. I'm not
But
sure
yeah.
why. Oh, there we go.
This guy.
The maid.
It's Courtney.
Is Courtney here?
No, I think so. Stream
No,
Elements keeps spamming
she could-
her link in the chat. Stream
Oh,
Elements
I'll
seems to
switch
have,
that off. I
it
can.
seems
I
to
can.
have-
I
Now,
can
what's
get
the
that.
third
Don
Carradine brother's name? The one that was in Revenge of the Nerds? Is that David or is that John?
No, David was Kung Fu.
Okay, so John is the other
Keith
one.
and John, I think.
Yeah, John's
Or was
got to be
John
the
the
one that's
father?
in
Yeah.
Revenge of the Nerds.
What was their father's name?
I believe his name was John as well. But I think the youngest son, which is the one that's in the Revenge of the Nerds, is John as well. Pretty sure.
Let me.
I'll
switch off
find out.
this.
Let's see.
Forgive me. I'll find this spam that's going on.
It's just
Switch that one off.
it's maybe a little too frequent. If those are all on
That's
timers,
all right.
so we could probably crank it up or just turn them off.
Yeah, I'm tweaking them. I've been tweaking them over the past few weeks. I'm gradually starting to get them better. I may be switching to the Streamlabs OBS version though instead of Stream Elements. So because Melon being part of Streamlabs, that's got more integration. So
Robert.
Is it Robert?
That's
Okay.
what Clay
Yeah,
says.
John's the father. Robert's the
Yeah.
Okay.
You're
Robert's
other
the kid.
son.
Okay.
And then wasn't there a Walter? Was he the grandfather? Or am I getting thinking of Walter Houston?
Could be, I don't know.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
right. Ominous music.
Yes.
Oh, wait,
You know it.
Dun,
Yeah.
Where's the
that-
bunny boiler?
That stuff's crazy.
So Breon James.
Perfect.
And I think they said that they had the same amount of animals hanging up as number of guys they had, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And no animals were harmed in the making of this film.
No animals were harmed. That's a bunch of
And
horse
two of them were
shit.
black.
If you've seen this movie,
Well, it's not
Yeah.
Cannibal Holocaust.
no, I'm talking about the end of it, where they're chasing them through the town. They're preparing for to put a pig on a pit, you know, and they actually show you how they slaughter the pig.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, if they did it the way Coppola did it at the end of Apocalypse Now, he could just find people who were already about to kill an animal and then
Right.
just film it.
Just film it.
That, yeah. And
that's
they can't
probably
repeat
what they
it, right?
did
So you only
here.
get one take.
That's probably
Maybe.
what they did here. Probably.
It's sort of a loophole how you can do it,
Mm-hmm.
or how he did it. Maybe that's what they did.
It must be, because they definitely show it to you, if you remember correctly. Yeah.
Can anyone hear bagpipes?
Bagpipes?
Say yes. Can anyone hear bagpipes?
No.
You
Yes,
can?
of course.
No.
No, okay. I'm just testing some sound stuff that doesn't seem to be working now.
I heard
I'm
the
not
organ.
supposed to be here.
We thought you were
After
going
work.
all Joe Biden on us for a second there.
Right.
I hear the sound of distant drums.
Come on, man.
For some reason,
See, what's messed up is this guy, our one-armed friend here, has nothing to do with the dudes that are chasing these guys. Nothing to do with them. He's just a victim of their anger.
Michael Myers. You're in my swamp.
Oh, the dogs! I forgot about them, man. Oh my God, couple of rots. Oh yeah, good Lord.
Not just a couple.
There's like four.
That's right. They send about 4 at them, don't they?
yeah,
4 or 5, yeah.
I did want to show this whole clip. I have a clip of it, but I got a copyright straight thing earlier when I did the first one. So
Yeah.
bastards.
Yeah, those are some mean ass dogs, man. Oh. And it's them or pit bulls that guys raise down here. Them and pit bulls.
Yeah, it's a shame the pit bulls are treated very badly to make them aggressive, you know.
Yeah, that's a shame of it, because I mean, I had always heard that, and trust me, I'm no big fan of dogs. They scare the shit out of me, especially big ones. But my first wife and I owned a chow, and I'd heard how territorial they are, and the one dog, the chow we had is a beautiful dog. We could have put it in shows. You know how their tails curl over? This one curled straight over, didn't go side to side, and touched her spine. I mean, we could have put this dog in shows. She was beautiful. And the first time she was in heat was the first time she snapped at me. I was going to put her out that night, and I went to reach down and grab her collar, and she snapped at me. And just out of reflex, I threw her against the wall, just scared out of my mind. And you would have thought after that point that dog understood English when I spoke. I just, apparently I just had to show her who the boss was. You know what I mean? Yep. And it's proof to me that it's all about how these animals are raised. If you raise them to fight, they're going to be mean ass dogs. If you raise them with love and everything, they're going to give you the same thing back. You know what I mean? It's just,
I like, Sentient Dildo's talking about staffies. I love staffies. They're great dogs.
I was raised with a Doberman. We had a Doberman when I was growing up. She actually thought I was her pup.
All right. Yeah, cool. Your parents really weren't good to you, were they? Oh, we'll just let the dog raise them.
Well, no, I would get in trouble, and Wendy would sit on me and look at Dad and go, I'll take care of it.
Yeah, exactly. So there's, they're just, they're really falling apart now, and they're trying to kill.
And they're going east to get north. Don't forget that. Now. They're going east to get north.
Fred Ward desperately wants to kill Bray and James.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, and he said, how do you know it's his dogs? But I love the look on Bray and James's face when the dogs were appearing. He went, these shitheads don't know what's coming. Because they're going, they can show us the way to the interstate. They're coming to help us.
Yeah,
really?
Sure.
Yeah, strange dogs in the wilderness are there to help you.
You people are so stupid. Yeah. Oh, I love this. I saw it in the cinema back in the day, and I was sitting there gripped thinking, what's going to happen next? What is going to go down next? Because they're not going to make it. Most of them.
Most of them aren't, yeah. Now, what did they find here? I don't. Oh, yeah, it's the bear trap. Yeah.
The bear trap. So Soul Assassin says he needs to learn how to carve a pig. Well, there is a bit of pig squealing in this. Not unlike Deliverance. It's purely because they're slaughtering it.
Yeah, it's because they're slaughtering someone. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, there's a conversation. Yeah, exactly. I think Hardin and Spencer are having side conversations around these fuckers are trying to kill us, and we're saddled with these idiots. What are we going to do about it? They're forming a little twosome because they don't trust the others at all.
Well, they're probably doing the same thing the audience does. Like, these idiots are going to die.
Right.
So once they're gone, what are we going to do?
We don't want to die with them.
And meanwhile, Stucky is stuck to the hip of Fred Ward, right? Yeah. There's factions, there's battle lines being drawn inside the unit for sure.
And
idiots.
We're about to prove the first rule of horror movies.
Oh yeah, that was wow.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
that I remember in the cinema. I was thinking that is brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a straight up trap the Vietnamese would have used too. You take a piece of bamboo, stick a whole bunch of sharpened spikes on it, wind it back, and as soon as the tripwire goes,
it was one of the most shocking movements. One of the most shocking movements in it.
Now, what movie in a movie
I'd ever seen.
What movie was it that came out first? This one or First Blood? I don't remember. Because he had a snare that was just like that, only it got the guy in the thighs. It shot forward.
It hurt him badly, but it didn't kill him.
Yeah.
He screamed though. I think they were very close to each other. This is 81. I'm pretty sure
first was 83.
Was it? Right. Yeah. And there's Coach. Coach does a bit of a religious
1982,
thing.
the next year.
Okay.
So very close. Same cinematographer, of course.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, so there's one of them gone.
Mm-hmm. and Casper's actually growing some balls and starting to get into people's shit now. He's getting fed up.
He was playing a dude disguised as a dude. As another dude. This guy's another dude. Yeah. It's Tropic Thunder.
Yeah.
I mean, there's tropes in this and other movies like this that I think Tropic Thunder did pick up on. It's I would say there's some influences in Tropic Thunder of this movie in particular. Some very similar scenes. There's the guy that goes nuts with Jack Black and the time of the tree and all that. And then they've all got blanks for one thing.
Yeah, that's just yeah.
The only thing is that some people like Stucky here do go full retard in this movie.
Absolutely. which Robert Downey Jr. told you should never do. Never go full retard. Never go.
So yeah, this is Carradine Spencer arguing they should let Breon James go. Just let him go. But
and he actually whacks him right there too.
Yeah, let him go. Maybe that's what they want. Let him go and they'll leave us alone. I don't think Breon James is particularly associated with those guys. But
he's not.
He's not associated with those other guys. But
No,
they would
he's
still
not.
probably...
He's just a dude out here trying to freaking do
He is
his
just
thing.
a guy trying to live off the land in the middle of the swamp. That's
And
what
then these morons rock up and just fuck it all up for him.
Right, civilization came to his door.
Yes.
There's the allegory, if anything.
Yeah.
That's the allegory.
Yeah.
Yeah, Platoon is the Platoon scene in Tropic Thunder. There's definitely stuff from this movie in it. There's Apocalypse Now. There's all these little great bits if you look for them.
I can tell you this though, that's the actual patch of the Louisiana State National Guard. It's a pelican that's on that.
Yeah, I mean, all the gear and stuff they're using is pretty accurate to this period.
Yeah.
Like this is what they would have had, especially because it's a little old and beat up, but it's still like current issue essentially.
I wonder if the Louisiana National Guard gave them any help, or whether they were like, "Fuck you, you're going to make us look like idiots."
Well, like I said, I thought my aunt had been an advisor on this, but she, like I said, I called her earlier today, and she has no memory of that. But I find it hard to believe because she was one of the like I said at the time there was very few full-time Guard members. They were personnel logistics people and stuff like that. And I think the unit she was in up here we have two Guard units on either side of the red up here. One of them is when I was in it, it was a transportation battalion, but I think since they've changed to something else, I can't remember exactly. But on the other side of the river, though, is Fort Humbug. It's right near the VA hospital in Shreveport, and it is a tank. It is a tank unit. There's a huge older tank out in the front of the place, right by the front gate. Always has been since I was a kid. But I say that to say this: I'm sure they got some advice from them. Now, whether they gave them uniforms or what, they definitely gave them the patches because that is the patch has been forever of the Louisiana State National Guard. It's a pelican with its wings open. Yeah. So that's what's on their patches. And it's definitely those are just after the Vietnam War issue looking stuff there. Because when I first got in '83, we were wearing the BDU uniform. If you understand the forest camouflage BDUs.
That had just come in like 1980, I think.
Yeah. So, and they may have been doing it then, but so they definitely were wearing the older ODs in this film.
And especially the Guard would be the
Gumbies.
last one to get newer equipment.
Yeah. Yep.
So Christian has given us another dollar donation. Thank you. The difference between French and Spanish: the French use their tongues more. Yep, the French make love with their faces. Yeah, so where are we? Oh, yeah, so it's the second night out. They're starting to look a little bedraggled, and things are not going so well.
And then we get over here, and here, now we're going to get to it.
We may have less people to take with us.
Yeah, we might after this scene right here, huh?
Ooh, will we get a final girl?
We may.
Final guy, maybe, but
final grill.
I was in a BDSM unit back in '83, Joe.
Yeah, Fred Ward's had it. He wants some answers.
Hail WG.
Yeah, torturing a one-armed man. Well played.
They can't speak English, right?
Unless it's the guy in that the one-armed guy that's chasing Harrison Ford. He deserved to be tortured.
Right, he deserved to be tortured.
Yeah, fugitive. Yeah.
I just have to point this out. You don't see Dokken make it a song called Weekend Warrior. Well, we should, though. We're the Weekend Warriors.
I would not be surprised if there were freaking guardsmen making that joke in the 80s.
Right.
That face is like, he's like, what the fuck?
This is where Brio. This is a great scene.
Yeah, it is.
Because Powers Boots had enough of Fred Ward's shit.
Yep.
And this is where you find out Brian James isn't as clueless about English as you think.
No. Because Powers Booth is totally shocked whenever he says it too.
Yeah. Here we go.
And in
Slip
Powers
it in
Booth's
there,
defense,
kill him.
Fred Ward did stab him first.
He did,
True.
yes. It's a fight. Yeah, absolutely. You couldn't trust him after that.
Mm-hmm.
Can't back off from that.
Yep. We didn't actually see it, but yeah, he did tell him, kill him.
Kill him. Shoot the
And
puck.
It shocked him that he was saying English.
Shoot the puck.
And of course, Stucky reacts. He wants to kill this sumbitch, right?
Which,
What
if anyone should have gotten it first, it should be him. He's the idiot that started all
He's the idiot that got them all in this mess, right? Yeah. And we got some more bodies.
Can I just pop back to something you guys were saying about the blanks, and they didn't have the correct. What was it they were missing on the guns?
It's called
blank fire adapter.
Yeah, it's an adapter. If you look it up, a blank adapter, it looks like a box, and it has a crank. And what that crank is for is it cranks this plug into what the box is for. Is it's a guard that grabs the end of the muzzle, and you crank it down to fill the hole to effectively plug it completely. So
you have enough gas
so
pressure
no,
to actually
and the
cycle
blank
through it.
has nothing. The blank has nothing. The whole thing that causes a
You
recoil
can still be
for an
killed
automatic
by
weapon.
Yeah.
Sir, what's
Like
that?
you can still be killed by a blank.
You can be hurt by a blank. Wadding from a blank, if you're close
you
enough
can be
to
killed.
it, could hurt you. Yes,
Well,
no doubt.
Brandon Lee.
And that's another thing. It's a safety thing. But to get it to fire on automatic, you have to have recoil, and the only way to get that casing to go backwards is to have something pushing the gas. Shooting the bullet out is enough to push it backwards for the recoil when you're firing live ammunition. Well, you don't have that bullet coming out. All you have is gas coming out. So you have to have something to press the gas and push it backwards. Yeah.
Like the old recoil operated guns would have worked, but with this, it's a gas operated weapon. So you need enough gas pressure to blow the bolt to the rear.
Yeah.
So,
And
the bullet usually acts as that plug, but with a blank, you don't have a bullet. So
yeah, if you did it,
need
if you
something
fired a
in the barrel
blank,
to-
a magazine of blanks without that blank adapter on it, you would pull it and it would shoot once, and it would not, even on automatic, and it wouldn't do anything else. It would just sit
it would
there.
turn into a bolt action essentially.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So if they had issued live rounds that they took off Predward, they would have had to remove those blank.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Devices.
Oh yeah, I've actually seen what happens firsthand when you fire a live round down a blank fire adapter. Basically, your gun blows up.
Yeah, I was fixing to say, God, man, that must have been an accident.
Yeah, basically the guy didn't clear out his magazines from the day before, and we still had two had 2 live rounds in the bottom.
Yeah.
So and then he loaded a full magazine of blanks.
Jeez.
So
what's happened here is
that mag blew his gun apart.
Yeah, Hardin and Spencer have had enough of Casper and the others, and they're saying, "Look, we're taking charge here." Hardin's saying, "I'm taking charge."
Mm-hmm.
This, and we're going this way. We're getting out of here. He's not. He's had enough of the shit.
Yeah.
He's basically taking charge.
Mm-hmm. Which, after somebody's tried to kill him, you can't blame him, right?
Well, exactly. He's done with this shit. I mean, he's a chemical engineer to get home to his wife and presumably kids. Like, fuck this shit, you know. Well, that's an interesting comment about the Hills of Ice sequel. I guess anything that's got the National Guard in it, though, you could say was related, but is it really? I don't know.
Well, I mean, we do refer to the National Guard as the Nasty Girls for a reason.
Greetings, Bill Barclay.
Hail, Bill Barclay.
My Scottish friend. It's good to see a fellow Scot on the stream. Thanks for joining me.
And one thing you're missing in all these still shots is the entire time Walter Hill builds the tension, because you see silhouettes in these woods occasionally.
Yeah.
You know, they're being followed. You can see
the
it.
atmospheric shots of just the bayou with the freaking fog all over the place. And it just builds this tension.
You know the guys are out there, but as you say, you don't really see them.
No.
You'll see something moving every now and again, but you'll never be able to tell what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But they must be thinking, these guys are so easy to pick off. It's just unbelievable.
Ducks in a barrel.
These guys have no idea we're
Fish
here.
in a barrel. Fish in a barrel.
The spikes thing, the trap that caught the guy previously, do you think that was just there for hunting purposes anyway, or did they rig that deliberately to get
that?
They're not.
So you're roboting a bit, mate.
Try again, but
robot.
your connection's a little messed up there, Pope.
Yeah, anything that high is going to be way too high for a pig or whatever. So that's a trap for.
So that's a trap for humans.
That's what I was going to say. They're not hunting bear. Trust me.
So I think you're right, Dildo. 2 Scots on the same stream. Definitely, we're doomed. Definitely,
we're doomed.
Yeah.
Can't resist playing that clip. There can be only one.
Those guys,
Dad's Army, great show.
They look awful clean for guys that got dug up.
Yeah.
Hey, can I try to read this one? Bill Barclay says, I watched episode 1 of The Last of Us. Och, it was good.
It was good.
It was good.
So in the last, it was good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
it's not Guid. Guid would be some kind of Italian or
like squid, like squid.
It's good.
Good.
It's good. Good.
Good.
Up your kilt, Darius.
Or like the umlaut U, right? Like U.
This is Scotland at the time the temperature dropped.
We, on the other hand, are colonized by wankers.
That's actually a bit of montage.
I love that one. That's cool.
Yeah, I need to extend that one. That was just one I did quickly. I need to extend that one.
Now they're shooting at each other.
I still wish I could get my bagpipes to play. I'm really annoyed. The stream wavelength stream thing goes up when I play it, but you can't hear it.
Didn't he make a grenade or something like that? I can't remember exactly what was going on here.
He made it out of bark and
he made it out of something. I think it was
leeches.
A sea rat.
I collected leeches.
No, I think it was because sea rations have cans in them, and I think he used one of those. And I can't remember. It was probably
gunpowder from the blanks.
Right. Yeah. And he said, "Don't you read your field manual?" And blah, blah. Yeah, I remember that part now. Yeah, he made a improvised grenade. Yep.
WG says it looks like Swamp Face at Eglin Air Force Base. Which it sounds like a training area outdoors. Swamp Face.
It does, doesn't it?
Is that
Isn't
WG?
Swamp
Tell me
Face
if that's what that is.
Isn't that a minor villain in the Batman comics?
Swamp Face? No, I don't think so.
Swamp Face.
It'd have to be very minor.
Hey, we should do Swamp Thing. That's a good movie.
Oh wow,
old school horror, yeah.
Oh god, yeah, love that shit.
We'll have to do one on like all those old like B sci-fi movies from like the 50s and 60s. Some of those are great.
It's gonna happen. Well, after we've done more canon, and we are doing more canon. Trust me, I'm working on it. We're gonna do some Orion pictures as well.
Yeah, Orion had a hell of a lineup back in the 80s too.
Yeah, I think we're in the right wheelhouse there. And I want you to do this. I've wanted to do this since I started doing these streams because I do love this movie and I feel it's sadly underappreciated. For some reason, it made its money back, I guess, but it just wasn't a hit, and nobody ever talks about it now, which is weird.
It is weird. Yeah, this is when the helicopters. Here we go. Here's Stucky's demise right here.
That's right. Oh,
he's gonna go chasing the helicopter, right?
Sucker.
That helicopter can't see shit through those.
Yeah, I was gonna say they're waving at it. And when I was watching the movie, like anybody's gonna see you in there.
Yeah. And even if he did, what the fuck's he gonna do?
Yeah, where are they gonna land?
They could throw you down some rations.
Not landing
I guess.
Anywhere there. Yeah.
Throw you some rations. They could lead you. They could tell you which way to go. Like direction wise, they could lead you. But
now they've been there for 2 nights, so they know they're missing. They're looking for them.
Well,
That's why we're
Monday
seeing the
by now.
helicopter. Yeah, it's Monday, and these guys are supposed to be back at the work at their desks on Monday morning. You know,
God knows how the bank is going to survive.
Right? What the hell?
Without these guys, it probably would have run better.
It's run better. Yeah.
And there goes Stucky.
Here we go.
There he goes.
Sucker.
He's like, wait a second, what's wrong?
Yeah. Rule number 1.
Always watch where you're running.
Exactly. You're in the swamp. Never run somewhere.
And there's giant bear traps. Why wouldn't you pay attention?
I know.
He's Stucky now.
Bye.
And there he goes. He's Stucky.
He went down pretty fast.
Stucky in the muddy. He kind of looks like the uncle from Grounded for Life. If he had a love child with James Franco. That's what he looks like to me.
The good thing about this one is they don't have to bury him.
No.
No.
Just throw me in the trash.
Question piss Stucky as Dill says. If only he'd grabbed a reed on the way down, he could have just kept breathing, you know?
Mm-hmm. If you hadn't noticed, we got Coach on a leash now.
That's right, yeah. Because
he's tied up for everybody's
Gaga.
safety now.
He's Radio Gaga.
Pay someone for that.
Yeah, he spent half the movie tied up, stumbling around. I mean, who would sign up for that role? I mean, come on.
Apparently, an ex-football player would.
An ex-football player desperate for work. Yes.
I guess it depends on the kind of film.
But it's not over yet.
But yeah, I'm with you. This is a very, very underappreciated movie.
Bill, I haven't seen The Rig yet. I've heard people talking about it because it's set in the North Sea, and
this movie couldn't happen today, but I could see it happening in 1973. I could most definitely see it happen back then.
Oh yeah, I mean, well, when you look at I don't know about these days, but like back, 10 years ago, like all of these guys would have been Iraq and Afghan vets.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
no better than this shit.
But I just find it difficult to think they would be so out of touch now. They'd all have GPS shit and whatever, you know.
Yeah.
Hell, even if their phones weren't they'd have a satellite phone or something. And
we got to remember, it's pre-cell phone, all the good stuff.
Pre-cell phones.
Yeah.
Even just
I'm
their
just
demeanor and
surprised.
discipline, like when Stucky takes over, it would just been like, he's like, all right, look, I'm in charge now. Roger that.
Here we go. Boom.
Yeah, well,
Brought him right back
Casper
in line.
fixed his bayonet like he was going to go mano a mano with him, and they just said, "No, maybe you don't get it. We're hunters. You're not going to get near us."
You're going nowhere near us. Yeah.
They wasted him, man.
Like a noob.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now they're all shitting themselves now.
To be fair,
This Franklin Seals here.
To be fair, after that one gunfight, like that bayonet's the only functional weapon he's got.
That's right.
You brought a knife to a gunfight.
Sorry, Seals, you're a gunner. I'm not supposed to be here. How many movies have we heard that line in?
Right. Game over, man. Game over.
Yeah, where's Bill Paxton when you need him?
Right.
That's right.
He was the Bill Paxton in this movie.
R.I.P.
Why did we put her in charge? See, what they really needed was this.
Let's rock!
That's what they needed.
Fast Fez is taking care of them cases quick.
You know that they've started putting trigger warnings before Aliens saying, be aware that there is a Hispanic character being played by a non-Hispanic actress.
Are you serious?
I am serious on some television and streaming services.
Please
be aware.
Wait till they tell them the people in Star Trek aren't actual Klingons.
That's right, yeah.
What the?
Those aliens weren't really aliens.
Crazy.
There
That's
aren't
not
really
just
blue.
pathetic.
There aren't really blue Avatar aliens for them to play.
Right. You have to take like a DNA test in order to get cast on a role after that.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what they're saying. The actors can never act. They can only be what they are. So there's no acting involved.
No acting involved.
Some actors have actually got the guts to say that. Like Ian
Look how pretty
McKellen.
that is, though.
Ian McKellen saying,
gorgeous.
I'm an actor. But yeah, it's beautiful.
It,
Except when you're
Assassin
marked for death.
Says, as a Latino, I could say, we accept Vasquez.
I would accept her too. I think she's certainly back in the day.
You don't count, 70s.
It doesn't matter what you say.
How do you know I'm not Hispanic? I'm from Europe. I could easily have Hispanic ancestors.
Well, that's the thing. We're going to need a DNA test.
Well, if you go back far enough, the Celts are from Spain.
And
you know that I'm directly descended from Charlemagne, but then so is everybody in Europe.
Yes, so is
right?
everybody.
Everybody in Europe. Right?
After 1,000 years, everyone's descended from Charlemagne.
And now we're back into a deep conversation between these two guys. Meanwhile, I can't remember what's the coach doing. Is he chanting or something over there?
Mani Padme Om, yeah, he's
some kind of bullshit.
He's talking about football, I think.
He's losing his mind.
He's speaking about football or something.
No,
mumbling about football.
I thought I said something about the guard.
Could be.
That's right. He's saying I am the guard, right? He's doing the guard thing. It's a mantra of the guard. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he's catatonic, really. I mean, he's
he
totally
is.
gone.
He's not. Hey, the coach is not here right now. But if you'd like to leave a message,
that's right. Leave a message. We'll do it.
We'll have him get back to you as soon as he's done with his.
Oh yeah, Genghis Khan is another prolific baby haver, and
Like
Augustus
a third
of
humanity
Saxony,
is
I
actually
think.
directly related to him.
I think Mel Gibson put in the work to be Braveheart, so he's adapted. We have accepted him as an honorary Scot.
Yeah,
He
see,
put the work
let's
in.
bring back effort.
He put the work in.
Right.
He wore the clothes. He painted the face blue. He bared his arse.
Yeah, he did the work.
He did. He went commando under the kilt. Come on, give him.
And
Give him
he screwed a
He
French
probably
girl,
went
so-
out and got smashed after every scene.
Yeah. So I actually saw them filming that from a distance.
I always wanted to ask, and I don't know if you guys know the history of the story or not, but did he actually have an affair with the?
No, never in a million
Okay.
years did that happen. And
I didn't
never-
think so.
No,
I didn't
it's all bullshit. Yeah, it's complete bullshit.
It was a neat romantic part of the movie and everything, but I
Yeah,
didn't.
they
I
had-
thought that might be historically incorrect.
Yeah, it was bullshit.
That would
Total
never
bullshit.
fly.
But it is true that he never saw the country free, though, right?
No, he didn't. He that had to wait until Robert the Bruce finished the job.
Mm-hmm.
Some 10, 20 years later, but he set the
Don't
ball
they
rolling.
wake up and Coach is dead too? Is that right?
So he's gone, and they find him here. He's hanging. From
That's
the
right. He's hanging.
bridge.
Yeah.
He's hanging from the bridge. Whether
And then-
whether he did it himself or whether the bad guys did it, I don't
Right.
know. I mean,
And that's something they bring up with him pissed off, right? And
But
that's when
here's where-
Homeboy lets him know I can aim this thing with one hand, right?
So this is interesting, because he does say that they're his buddies, these guys.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to kill you all if I don't got to.
Mm-hmm.
Grammar, you got a bayou over here, take it. So he's basically saying, stay to the west side. Yeah, this is the way out.
Yeah, he's telling him how to get out of there.
Yeah.
Yep.
And do you mind telling us what's going on? It's real simple. We live back in here. This is our home, and nobody don't fuck with us. So that's it.
Great line.
That's pretty simple. Yeah. Straight to the
Actually,
point.
he is asked. Powers Booth asks him, "Did he Bowden do it himself, or did they do it?" And that's when he shoots. Ryan James shoots at them and said, "I wouldn't be asking any questions if I was you."
Yeah, that's what I was saying. He lets him know this one-armed guy can aim a rifle, right? He shoots right at his feet. Yeah.
He basically said, "Stop asking questions and get the fuck out of here. I've told you how to do it."
Mm-hmm. Yep. And they actually get a lift from some nice Cajuns. Yeah.
Yeah. And this is where we see that it's not those guys are hunters or living off the grid, even for Cajuns.
Yeah.
The community itself are all friendly, nice people. They have no idea. That guy looks like Dennis Quaid or somebody. I don't know. He's good. They've no idea the stuff's going on. They just see
looks
these
like
people
Ryan
dragging
Hurst.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well, trust me, if you hear him talk in the movie, that's a Cajun. That's an actual Cajun right there.
This is all real stuff. Yeah, these
Yeah.
are the real guys.
And these are the hogs you're fixing to see get slaughtered. Yeah.
That's right.
They're going to a party in the town.
Going
gathering.
to a party. Meet me on after school.
And the music they play is really cool. It's
It
Zydeco
is.
music, and it's really good. Yeah.
I do like a lot of that. I've got some Beausoleil and acts like that. I quite like it.
Yep.
Some good barbecue going on.
Hey,
here.
man, one thing about Louisiana, we'll party for anything.
Yeah.
There's probably a party going on for Martin Luther King. Well, actually, I know there is. There's a Mardi Gras parade today. The crew of Sobek, I think, the African-American crew, is got a parade going on downtown on Martin Luther King Day.
Y'all
Yes,
have been partying
absolutely.
for hundreds of years,
Yeah.
nonstop. It's just when Mardi Gras
Absolutely.
happens, more people show up.
That's it. People join in.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think I've said this before to maybe not to this group, but I was a bartender for 18 years, and we were the last state to raise the drinking age from 18 to 21, and they had to threaten to take away our highway funding to do it.
Yep.
Because we just weren't going to do it.
Mr. Joe's atmosphere raise this drinking age.
No.
I mean, so wait a minute, Joe. So you're saying that you didn't serve drink to underage people like every other place in the world?
No, I didn't.
I don't think people really
As
care.
far as
that
I
much,
know,
and
but then again, I wasn't in charge of checking the
we
IDs.
got a wild
I was the
appearance by
bartender.
Mrs. Rock
Okay.
fan in the background there.
Oh, yeah. You don't have Albanian nightclubs in Louisiana?
I actually enjoy this whole sequence because they're all pretty friendly, and then the girl starts to dance with him at the dance.
Yep.
She's disappointed when he leaves, which is kind of neat.
Yeah, you could have had a little Cajun down the side there.
Indeed, an occasion.
Yeah,
An occasion for occasion. Yes.
Yes. But even here, they're still thinking, yeah, we're not safe.
Nope.
Took me a sec.
I think this is funny because they're washing their hands and whatever here, and they're going, I feel a little
And
cleaner.
they look like garbage. They've been running around the swamp for how long? And
These guys
they're
look
going to
like
wash
they
their
just
hands
face
before they
planted
eat.
straight in the swamp.
We call it swamp ass for a reason, guys.
Yeah. Yeah, it's.
Oh, Joe.
But I think, so the others, the others are all dead, or did they just leave them? I can't remember now.
I think they're all dead.
They're all dead. They
dead.
got hung
Yes.
and tied to the tree
All of them
and
are dead.
killed. And,
Yes. The last
Joe-
one was the coach. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Oh, well, we have a question. Did you ever make a Boilermaker?
Yes, I have. Okay. But the thing I made more often, believe it or not, the drink I made more often, and it's a lot like a Boilermaker. Boilermaker is beer and bourbon. Okay. The one I made, and if you've never had one, I want you guys go ahead and try it sometime. They are tasty, but I caution you to only have one and leave it at that. Don't go doing a bunch of them. Is a flaming Dr. Pepper. It's the same concept. You take a half a mug of beer, half a mug. Now you have to have room to drop the shot in, right? And it's not like what you see in Thor where he pours the bourbon in the beer. No, you drop the shot in the beer. Okay.
Like a bomb. Yep.
Right. But here for a flaming Dr. Pepper, what you do is you use a shot of amaretto and you drizzle some high octane alcohol on top. We used 151 Bacardi is what we used.
Oof.
And you light that and drop it into the beer and slug it. It tastes exactly like a Dr. Pepper.
They are tasty, but they are fucking dangerous.
They are dangerous. That's what I'm saying. If you decide to have one, try it just the way I described. And look, you have to have the flame because that bit of the flame going out, the smokiness of that is part of the flavor of the Dr. Pepper. I've tried it without doing the flame portion of it, and it doesn't work. But it's a dangerous thing to serve. If you've got the shakes, don't do it because you're going to end up burning up your fingers. Because once you light alcohol, if you spill it, the flame's going with it. So, but yeah, that I made that more often than a Boilermaker. Yes.
I just wanted to say hi to WG, who's here, a man who knows how to shoot the puck. And it's a damn shame Powers Booth survived this, only to be killed 3 years later on the outskirts of Calumet, Colorado, fighting as an insurgent against Cubans and Russians.
Yeah.
Great reference.
After wrecking a plane, right?
Well played.
Oh, man.
Well played.
Yeah, I think about they're discussing whether or not they're out of the woods yet, right? And Powers Booth's telling him, look, we don't need to sit here too long. We need to get out of here, right? I think that's what that whole conversation was right there.
Well, he's
watching all that truck pull up. Yeah, they saw that truck pull up, guys. Yep.
Sentient Dildo and Bill are talking about Buckfast, which is a Scottish delicacy. It's basically like the equivalent of a Thunderbird. It's a fortified wine that a Buckfast Abbey brews. It's brewed by monks, but it's like lethal and cheap. So Buckfast is a bit of a.
I like where they got the. I'm sorry.
No good.
Highland moonshine.
It's kind of like that, yeah. It's legit though because it's made by an abbey, so it's legit. It's got the blessing of God. You know?
Now he sees the nooses go up, and he's kind of thinking that's for them, but it's actually for the pigs. It's to grab their hind legs. But yeah, he starts thinking, "Hey, man, we
might
might
be in a little trouble here
now." Yeah, picks him up
it's
a weapon.
Interesting how they go to that point though, when really there's no sign yet of the bad guys, and those guys that turned up with it's clear they're going to do pigs. I mean, they're not going to hang these guys in the middle of a crowded village, you know.
Well,
I mean, people like this have just been hunting them the last couple of days. So.
I was fixing to say, Powers Booth from Texas. He don't know.
Perhaps they're going to kill. Perhaps they're going to kill them with accordions.
Right.
They're going to overpower.
Speaking of that,
them with the accordion.
yeah. Speaking of that, those guys playing that music in that's got to be a real Cajun band right there. Because
it is.
I
looked them up.
Sound and stuff, man.
It's real guys. Yeah.
See, she was disappointed.
Yeah, she is disappointed, big time. You know she is. And there's your boy.
Yeah.
He's ready.
He's not cutting a hole in his chest with a big blade.
No. But yeah, he's on the hunt, if you know what I'm saying. But yeah, they show him. Yeah, this scene's not for the squeamish right here, guys. They show them slaughtering these pigs. They show them bleeding them out and cleaning them. If you know what I'm saying. Yeah, no doubt. Is that for the guy playing the triangle, or is that the actual pig son? This guy's dancing a jig right here. There you go.
I know who the guy that picked them up in the truck reminds me of. David Morse.
Okay.
But it's not David Morse because he's
I know that
not
name.
in the cast list. Yeah, Contact and various movies like that. He died a few years ago. Yeah, that's who he reminded me of.
Oh,
Yes.
I've seen him in a ton of things.
Yeah, but unfortunately he passed away a few years ago.
Oh, well, I'll give him the full RIP then.
Indeed,
Yeah,
R.I.P.
12
David
Monkeys,
Morse.
The Rock.
He played Jodie Foster's father in Contact.
Oh yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Oh, Green Miles, of
Underrated
course.
movie.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
Saying Elsewhere. So that means that Contact was also part of a little boy's dream.
Possibly.
I
That's
did
John
Contact.
Cleese.
I've always liked that movie.
Yeah, I remember seeing
was
that in
a
the
Carl
theater.
Sagan
Yeah,
novel.
it was a really good one.
Here we go. Contact. I like the movie Contact. A lot of people don't like it. I thought it was pretty good.
I know.
I'm
I
sentimental.
don't get it.
Yeah, I like the sentimental part of it. With her father. Well, it's not really her father, but they appear as her father and make her feel.
Well, what
more
I
comfortable.
liked about it was the struggle between the religious fundamentalists and the scientists. I thought that was cool as hell. I
Yes, that was
loved
cool.
Matthew McConaughey's character. You
Now,
know?
this is where
Right?
this is where there's a weakness for these guys because he's got a single action bolt rifle, so he has to stop to reload. Otherwise,
he's got it.
Yeah,
He's
what
got to
he's
cycle
using-
that chamber. He sure does, man.
What he's using looks like a Remington rolling block.
I thought it was a Sharps because it's got an octagon barrel.
It could be. I think some of the rolling blocks had that too, though. Some of the earlier ones.
Okay.
And it's interesting. The music's so loud, even though it's really acoustic, that nobody hears the gunshots and the.
Oh man, he houses this dude.
Oh,
I remember that scene.
Right in the
He
face.
houses him with that M16. Oh,
Yeah.
gets him with the
May
rifle butt right in the face,
May
man.
not have any bullets in it, but my God, yes, that would hurt.
Yeah, I don't know
Like,
what he's firing, but it is a big caliber, big bore weapon because he
If
blows
it's like a
friggin',
rolling block, probably
Powers boots
45-70.
right out of his boots, man. It's ridiculous. Yeah.
Well, if it's a rolling block, it's probably a 45-70. So that's a Buffalo rifle. That's a Buffalo round.
gun. Yeah. That's what I was thinking, something like that.
And that the guy gets stabbed in the nether regions.
Oh yeah, that one.
Yes.
Oh, that was great. Yeah, that was
right.
He didn't see that coming, as he
No,
actually
he
said to the
didn't.
bishop.
No, sir.
And every man in the theater just immediately went, "Oh!"
Collective gasp. Right. There's Courtney. Hey, girl.
Hey, Courtney.
Courtney.
We missed you last, but we'll see you
Courtney.
next time. See you next week for next week's. Thanks for coming in, though.
And then the end of this movie, I didn't get the slow motion reveal of the truck. I really didn't get that
either. It was weird, and you know what that allowed you? To presume you all read about the Iranian released version of this.
No.
Oh,
So the Iranians took this movie and they edited it a little bit, and they turned it into the ending into the. They made it look like the American government was killing these guys. They killed them so that they wouldn't.
That's what it comes off like.
Yeah.
It doesn't take much editing.
It wouldn't take much editing. It really wouldn't.
I can't remember they wanted to make it like into a little bit of anti-American propaganda, so it was all about Vietnam for them. They made it like it was all Vietnam, and they were killing their own troops and blah blah blah.
Right. But that's the final shot.
Oh yeah, it was all planned by the American authorities in their version because these were all Vietnam War protesters who were against the war, and they'd all been put deliberately into this platoon to be murdered.
Wow.
So they edited it that way.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
That's
And at the end,
And
they think they're going
like you say, it won't take much editing to make.
I was
that.
going to say because the
That's right.
ending of
They
it,
just
I didn't
tweaked
get it. I was like, okay, they're out. We should be having a party. Yay!
and the Iranians said this
alive.
makes sense. Our edit makes sense if you take that point of view. That there was a way of getting rid of some inconvenient guys.
Because that's what I thought when I first saw it. I said, are they trying to say that this was all an exercise to see, how easy it would be to kill people in a swamp or something? Why is this so cryptic at the end of it?
Implies, of course, that there was some way of influencing the hunters,
or they hired them or something.
Or the boat thing was
the boat thing makes no sense. Then they specifically put the boats there to get them to do something stupid? What are the odds of them taking the boats, not taking the boats? Come on. Yeah, that's silly. Yeah.
There's a feel to it. I was thinking when I watched it today that at the end of it, it's got like that, because they do that slow motion thing and they're coming out of the mist. And I'm thinking this is like that 2007 remake of The Mist when the troops started coming after. And it's got that feel to it. It's like they just did all this crap and went through all this crap. And then suddenly here the military comes.
You're right. That's a good point.
Yeah.
I just wanted to show you the background image that I've been using, which is courtesy of Shout Factory, of course, who do lots of great stuff on YouTube. I love this image, this artwork.
What's really cool about it is the crucifix that's just like what the coach did to his chest.
That's right.
That's really neat, man. Yeah.
And I think they used this for the cover of the Blu-ray version that's out now, the special edition one. So it's a pretty cool image. So Shout Factory put that together.
I'm going to have to get the Blu-ray that the clip you showed earlier is from interviews on that.
Yeah, there's a few of those have made it onto YouTube, but I'm going to have to get it too. The movie itself is on Amazon Prime and it's pretty easy to find, but I want to get that because
and Tubi. I watched it on Tubi.
Did you?
Yeah, and it's free on Prime with ads at the moment. Yeah, and then you could probably rent it cheap any other time when it's not.
Highly recommend anybody that hasn't seen it watch it.
And because I do love that image too.
Yeah,
that's a great.
That was off the poster. I remember the poster in the theater. It was mostly actually that guy only takes up like the bottom quarter of the poster. Most of the poster is just those large cypress trees. And
I do, because I do have a couple more of images just before we wrap up.
Well, that tagline of "It's the land of hospitality, unless you don't belong there." That'd be a good bumper sticker for Joe.
It would be great. No, I've got a perfect thing on my bumper. It's crossed pistols.
Oh,
the symbol of the military police.
I thought I had a couple more posters, but I don't appear to have them. I do have this great picture of Fred Ward, though.
See, I don't remember that being the tagline for the movie, though. The poster I saw said "Not Since Deliverance" on it.
That was the tagline at the time. It was in the trailer too. Okay. But yeah, there's the simple version of it without my.
Right, but I'm pretty sure there's a.
Thanks for coming. Now get lost.
There is a poster.
Because this is one of the original covers. I think the original VHS cover, maybe. So, but maybe they did come up with that later. I don't remember at the time. It's been so long. But yeah, there's a bunch of good posters out there. If anybody wants to look them up, there's multiple really good, some great artwork. So,
yep.
So, I do love that movie. I mean, any final thoughts, guys, about the movie? I mean, feel free to express your feelings.
One of my favorites ever, man. It's from my backyard, so I dig it. And I wasn't
in there somewhere.
Look, man, 1981, I'd have been about 100 pounds soaking wet and about this height. I'd have been 6 foot tall and scrawny. It's just nah. Let me see.
I do love it as well. I mean, I think it's seriously underrated, seriously underwatched, and I'm a big Walter Hill fan anyway. So, it's such a good movie.
Like I said at the start, I mean, this is the first time I'd ever seen it, really, and it's completely believable. The characters feel real, and like it's a situation that would like naturally come out of this. So it's well written, it's well acted. The cinematography is great. Like, there's nothing really wrong with this movie.
Nope.
Yeah,
except there's no alligators.
There's no alligators, which is a bit of a drop. But we have Burt Reynolds got the gators in later in Gator.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
And then the follow up to Gator. No, White Lightning was the first and then Gator. I think that was the way it went. Yeah. The Christian Delorme, thank you again, Christian. Honestly, emptying your bank account yet again, my friend. I'll make it up to you one day, trust me. One last dad joke. As a Frenchman, when people tell me I have beautiful children, I answer, I didn't do that with my face. But you do have a beautiful face, Christian, so maybe that was enough,
Oh, does he have those French lips like Christopher Lambert?
Yeah, exactly. As Christopher Lambert, the well-known Scotsman.
Yeah, and Sean Connery, the well-known Spaniard who's secretly Egyptian.
That's right. Yes. Hang on. See, you
Yeah,
how'd
you cast a movie like that today?
It's the quickening.
That's how you would cast it. Oh, of course, if you're French, this had been made in Quebec instead of Cajun County, this was what it would have looked like. That's the Quebecois version of Southern Comfort. Northern Comfort, that would have been called.
I put a link to the actual movie poster, one of the actual movie posters. It's just like the one you have, but it actually has more above his head, and it's the cypress trees off in the moonlight. Is what it looks like.
Have you put it in the
private chat? There's a link there.
I don't see it.
I don't see it either.
Really?
Yeah. There's
Sure
nothing in the private chat.
Did you put it in the stream?
No.
It's a bit weird, Melon. You got to make sure you hit that little down into the left arrow. Sometimes it doesn't post. Just call it up on your screen and share your screen.
Okay, absolutely. Hang on. Let me just shrink it down where you can see the whole thing.
All right. So while you're doing that,
okay,
you got it?
Hey, Kronos.
Yeah, I'm doing it right now.
Where are you?
Poutine Comfort.
Poutine Comfort, yes.
And there you go. There it is right there.
I see it.
Poutine Comfort is a good name for a movie.
And the tagline, we stick on the ice there, right?
I got it.
You see how the shadows a little bit farther on the bottom, and you see more of the trees in the off.
Well, see, I remember that's what I remember the VHS looking like.
That's the one I remember. Yes, I remember that too.
Yeah, that's it.
It's such a great image.
It is. It's awesome.
And
I'm not sure. I'm not sure any of the cast actually stood like that in the movie.
No,
but it's still a great image.
But it's my themes because the reflection is sort of the other side of yourself, right? So he has to consider his broken up reflection. He certainly knows himself better at the end of the movie than he did at the beginning.
My God, you're deep.
You have our gratitude.
Thank you for that, Darius. You're so deep.
That's how those analysis videos always go. There's always a meaning to everything. Even
a meaning to everything you see.
Right.
Yes.
Like,
take him to Freeport. Detroit.
So, John or anybody else, any final words before I give you the chance to plug your stuff on the movie?
No, highly recommend this flick. Powers Booth. If you've never experienced his stuff, watch this. And Tombstone, my two favorite movies with him in it. And Sin City, he's good in that too. Oh
yeah,
he's a really good actor.
Good actor, good Texan. Good
yeah,
Texan. He actually is a Texan.
And I dig Keith Carradine too. I always thought he was one of the best Carradine brothers as far as actors go.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I'd just like, before we say cheerio to the chat, give you all a chance to do the usual plugging of holes or shows, wherever. Pope, would you like to go first?
Well, you guys can always catch me every Sunday at 4 Eastern for Rock and Roll Religion.
That's my show. Stop stealing my show.
I get confused, all right? Easily.
But isn't it on
and then this Sunday, this Sunday, 70s, and Courtney will be there for the Ramones, which should be a great show. And then occasionally on Twitch at Pope_Metallicus. If I can get it to work properly, which I couldn't last night. And other than that, you can see me here every Monday and hanging out in the chats. And also Vets Talking Tuesday with Soldier Spirit over on Vets Talking, which is a good show. He just started, so I think we're going to have some really good things on that. And I got some new stuff coming up. We're going to be doing more military movie reviews. I think the next one is going to be Full Metal Jacket, because I put a poll up in my community tab, and that got 100% of the votes. So I guess we're doing it. But thanks for having me, chat. You guys have been amazing as always. And we'll see you next time.
Yeah. And as cheers, mate. As somebody said, the shows have already been plugged 1,000 times on Streams Elements. So either it's feast or famine in Stream Elements. Either doesn't work or it works too much.
Or it works overdrive, right? Yeah.
E. Clay Thomason, thank you for the donation, buddy. Do you know about so we did mention the Iranian version of this movie. They edited it in a different way, of course. There's some info on Wikipedia. Interesting bit of trivia. It just shows what you can make of a movie with a very different look at it.
Mm-hmm.
And yet not much change, just a tiny bit of editing. Well played, mate. So, Joe, my esteemed Bayou dweller, what's going on with you, buddy?
Oh man, the usual. You guys can go by the channel and check out the schedule. I mean, I get together Wednesday with friends just like this, and we just talk about whatever the chat wants to talk about on State of the Atmosphere at 5:30. All times are central. I do my show with my brother where we break down today's headlines and try and have a laugh or two on the Brothers Hack the Matrix on Thursdays at 6:30. You can watch me create my comic book Saturday afternoons at 1:30. And Sunday has become a busy day, but let's see. We got the pregame party for football 2 hours before kickoff, the early game on Sundays. We're in the middle of the playoffs now, but we're going to keep doing it all the way through the Super Bowl. And I'm also doing Dork Side of the Ring. Until football season's over with, though, I'm just going to be doing a State of the Apron thing and send it in to him. But it'll be played during that show. It's all about wrestling. And then once football season's over with, I'll be on there full time at 1 p.m. Central. We go for 2 hours on that show, and it's on Pop Culture Minefields channel. Cool. So come check us out, man. For
Good
sure.
stuff, buddy. Yeah, please do check that out and subscribe to Joe's Atmosphere. To subscribe to everybody on here, please. These are all. I wouldn't have the show if these guys weren't here to do it with. John, my friend, what's happening with you?
Well, besides finding me here every Monday, you can find me on my channel that's been showing up on the stream for several times in the chat that I'm going to stream something tomorrow at 4 Central. I may not get my... I've still got a lot of work to do for the part 2 of the Godzilla retrospective. I may not get that done. If I don't, it'll be next week, but I'm going to stream something at 4 tomorrow. And then you can find me pretty much every day on Pop Culture Minefield. For the morning shows, definitely Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Central, and Friday and Saturday at 1 Central for TGIF and Saturday Morning Fun Time. And I'm behind the scenes for Dork Side of the Ring, all on Pop Culture Minefield's channel.
And he shows up occasionally on my show.
Yeah, I'm there too.
On Wednesdays.
Oh, great.
Yep.
Thanks, John. There's a lot of great stuff there. Hopefully I'll watch as much of it as I can. Time permitting, there's a lot of shows there. Appreciate it. And my co-producer, internet brother, real brother possibly. We're all related to Charlemagne, so, you know.
Yeah, or we could be distant cousins.
Yes. What's up with you, my friend?
Well, you know, the great mystery is. So you can always catch me here on Mondays with That 70s Rock Fan, and Saturday nights most weeks on Slasher McSplitter's channel, watching bad movies and then talking about them. Coming up this week, we have a TV show we're watching. Which we've never done before. It's called Showdown in Little Tokyo, not to be confused with Big Trouble in Little China. So, other than that, subscribe to my channel, and I think we all have a community tab now, don't we?
We do.
Yeah.
Yep.
Everybody, I think. All we need now is a community.
Well, some people don't like that word. I'm fine with it. It's one of my favorite TV shows.
Well, there you go.
I use mine all the time. I post stuff on my community tab all the
It's
time.
useful to use. Yeah, post what's coming up. And Darius, thank you, my friend, for helping me out backstage here and
thank you
for being supportive all the time. I do appreciate it. As for my good self, I will be on Toxic Tuesday tomorrow night on Nick Visor's channel, 32 Flavors of Nick Visor. I'm sure you all know it very well. We're doing that fantastic Carl Urban version of Dread, and we're excited to see that Quarter Black Garrett will be joining us as a special guest, so that should be fun. Next Saturday night, I will be doing Bourbon and Boarding, 10 p.m. Mountain Time. for all your hockey and boozing needs. And next Monday's It's Only Talk and Roll. It is the birthday next Monday of Robin Zander of Cheap Trick. So we're going to do a Cheap Trick special.
Yes.
Because I love Cheap Trick.
Yes.
We're going to surrender to Cheap Trick.
I've been listening to it this week. I've been listening to Cheap Trick's entire discography this week.
Excellent. Good stuff.
I'm a member of the Dream Police. Yeah.
You are. Yes. And I know what I want and I know how to get it. And I'm going to raise hell.
And then you'll be alone again.
Then I will. But then I will hold the flame. And other mighty wings, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so it's going to be all Cheap Trick all the time. I'll show some of my memorabilia, I hope. So on and so on. But I'd love to I'd like to and love to. I would love to. I'd like to thank everyone for being in the chat. Thank you all for being here. Without you, we're nothing. I'd just be sitting just weeping in the corner, as they say. Thank you to E-Clay, but particularly Christian, for all the donations. Really appreciate that, guys. It's going to a worthy cause. The new desk is next. Chair, new desk. I need a bigger desk. Lots of you guys, can't name you all right now, but you've all been here most of the show today and supported us, and that's great. Thank you. I hope you all enjoyed it. So I hope you all have a fantastic evening. I will see you all somewhere very soon. And until then, take care, stay well, and keep on rocking.
Don't steal any P-Rose on the bayou.
Exactly. Don't steal anything in the bayou unless you're born in the bayou. So, good night, everyone.